Rebecca?
Hey, what's how come people are having trouble?
Mute.
Hey, good evening. There is some technical difficulties with people joining, so we're going to give them a couple of minutes to access a different way. All right, people are still joining, but we do have a quorum, so I do want to start the meeting. So I will open the meeting of the Wakefield Conservation Commission for April 18th. We'll take roll call to start. Haley. Haley, I see you.
Yep, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yes.
Sorry.
Jim, are you there? Jim's having difficulty joining. Ken.
Here.
And Ken, you are the co-host. Paul.
Yes, I'm here.
Peter? I don't see Peter yet. Teresa?
Here, and Peter just texted me that he's having difficulty too, but I told him to get on through the town website.
Okay, great. Yeah, the calendar section on the town website has a link, and that's the easiest way to join. All right. First up, we will review the approve the minutes for April 4th. Would somebody like to make a motion to approve those minutes, or any discussion regarding corrections for those minutes?
I'll move to approve the minutes.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? Okay, hearing none, all in favor of approving the minutes for April 4th? Haley?
Yes.
I don't see Jim yet. Ken?
Yes.
Paul?
Yes,
Peter?
Yes.
Teresa?
Yes,
And I also approve those minutes. All right. First up is 17 Butler Ave. We do not have a file number as of yet. Is the applicant here? (17 Butler Ave). We did do a site walk earlier this week at that property. We did get some information today mailed to us. Rebecca, did you hear anything regarding the applicant for 17 Butler?
I saw him today. He came into the office to drop off that paperwork, and he sent it electronically and I forwarded it to you guys. So I did talk to him about the DEP file number and mentioned that we wouldn't be able to close without it. I do have a receipt that he sent the file by certified mail to DEP. But I'm not sure what happened after that. It's not even in their system. So I did tell him that today. I'm not sure if he took that as don't come. We didn't have that discussion. I assumed that he would come tonight, but perhaps there was a miscommunication there. But I believe he submitted you guys some information that you had requested maybe at the site visit.
Yes, he did. Yeah,
Okay.
regarding the fence and the landscaping footprint of the repaired or replaced porch, and some other questions we had asked. So yeah, we did get that email earlier. So yeah, he may have felt that since there is no file number, it didn't make sense to join tonight. One last call for applicant for 17 Butler. All right, anybody have any questions or comments regarding 17 Butler Ave?
I'll ask a quick one. The information that you guys had requested, do you now have everything in the package that he submitted today? Is that everything you were looking for?
I believe so. Anybody else have a, comment or question regarding that? Or do they even have a chance to look at it yet?
Bob, I can pull it up if you want. I have
Yeah,
it.
Jimmy, did you have a chance to see the information for Butler Ave?
I did read it earlier, but I don't know how much you covered because I just got on this. I was having trouble connecting.
Yeah. No, the applicant's not here. Rebecca was just asking if the package that was submitted to us answered the questions that we had asked.
I
Bob,
I
Ken
think,
just volunteered to show things on the screen, show the plan.
Yeah. Sure, Ken, go ahead. Jim, what were you saying?
I thought he did cover, I did read this and I thought he did cover this.
Agreed. Anybody else have any other questions or comments at this point? It was pretty straightforward when we did the site walk. We did ask the applicant clean up any of the debris that was behind the fence. And they agreed to do that.
Ken, can you go back to that picture you just said?
Profiles,
Yeah.
elevations.
Let me look at that for a second. Okay. Okay, thank you.
Yep.
All right, again, so there is no file number and the applicant is not here at this point. There's no other questions or comments. We can move on.
And did the plan show the resource area?
Good question.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty tight to the back of the garage. There is an
Dropped off
existing
fairly
fence.
substantially at that point too, behind the garage.
Yeah. Yeah, this lot is quite elevated compared to the two adjacent lots. There's, I don't know, maybe 5-6 feet difference in elevation between either side. So there's a noticeable drop off in the back where, where the wetlands are located.
Hmm.
It's pretty easily defined.
Yeah.
Okay.
Any other questions regarding 17 Butler Ave? Okay. All right. So again, we are waiting for file number for that. All right, next up, actually, we got about a minute before we can kick off the next thing.
Do you want to tackle 51 Eunice tree removal real quick? Because that should be fast.
Yes,
Okay, I submitted a picture to you guys. The tree is within your jurisdiction, but probably somewhere around that 50-foot mark. It's right behind a fence and it's deader than a doornail.
Mm.
yeah, what was that address again? I'm looking for the email.
51 Eunice.
Ken, do you have that one readily available?
Yeah, it's on the screen.
Oh, sorry, I'm looking through my email for it. Okay.
Is there a snag possibility?
That was the only photo of it, right, Rebecca?
Yeah, that's the only photo. It's got multiple trunks. I don't remember looking at it with a snag possibility, but I can certainly revisit that.
It's in the woods, so it shouldn't be like it shouldn't be an eyesore because it looks like there's enough stuff, growing up about 7 or 8 feet that'll,
Yeah. I'd say it's fine to take it down. What's
Yeah,
that?
if it's dead, it's,
Instead,
It's not,
there's certainly hazard there.
Yeah.
Mhm.
the only possibility is like Peter's saying, a snag for wildlife.
And when they drop trees, is that in the conservation land or is that on the homeowner's property? I
And
can't
that's-
really tell.
I think it's the homeowner's property.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
a pretty tall tree. They'd have to be very careful in limbing that as they're dropping it.
I just didn't know whether we're going to leave whether they do it in that kind of conservation land, whether you leave the, you leave the whole tree in the, or whether you take it away.
Oh, yeah.
So the house on the left or the house on the right?
Left.
Okay.
Rebecca, did you go into the backyard on this property?
No, I looked at it from the road.
Okay. Well, would somebody like to make a motion, to remove
Yep, I'll make the motion to remove the tree.
and,
Leave it.
with the, with the possibility of leaving a snag,
Right,
snag as possible.
yep,
Okay.
I'll make that motion.
Is there a
Second.
second? Okay, all in favor? Haley? Haley?
Yes.
Okay. Jim,
Yes,
Ken,
yes,
Paul,
Yes.
Peter,
Yes.
Teresa,
Yes,
and I also vote yes. So Rebecca, you'll see if there's a snag possibility with that?
Yeah, I'll check it out before I write the letter and then, or I can speak with him. I have his email and his phone number, so.
You want me to start off or?
We'll ask members of the public to please ensure you're muted. Actually, you know what, that brings us up to the next topic. So I should have brought this up earlier, but we did have a request from the member of the public to review the policies and procedures for open meeting law and public participation. So right from the law guidebook, I'll quote exactly what it says. I know I've covered this before about raising your hand, asking to be heard, and then directing questions towards the host or chair. Not interrupting and all that, but I will read exactly what it says in your open meeting law guide. So public participation. What public participation in meetings must be allowed? Under the open meeting law, the public is permitted to attend meetings of public bodies, but is excluded from an executive session that is called for a valid purpose listed in the law. While the public is permitted to attend an open meeting, an individual may not address the public body without permission of the chair or host, in Zoom. An individual may not disrupt a public meeting, a meeting of public body, and at the request of the chair or host, all members of the public shall be silent. If, after clear warning, a person continues to be disruptive, the chair may order the person to leave the meeting. In Zoom, that's either exit them from the meeting, put them in a waiting room, or put them on mute. If the person does not leave, the chair may authorize a constable or other officer to remove the person. Although public participation is entirely within a chair or host's discretion, the Attorney General encourages public bodies to allow as much public participation as time permits. So again, there was a request from the public to review that, that guide, the meeting law. So any questions, we can entertain those. But I think that's pretty clear. Raise your hand, wait to be addressed, do not interrupt, and above all, be courteous and respectful to not only the applicant and commission, but to each other. Thank you. All right, so next up, we have 715 DEP 313-620, that's 100 Hemlock Road. Northeast Metro Regional Vocational School, public hearing continued, review of revised stormwater design and buffer zone mitigation area. Is the applicant here?
Yes, yes, we are here.
Okay, I believe David is on vacation this week.
Yes, he is, but he's left his boss in charge. Paige is here.
Okay,
So, you know, we all know Paige is quite up to the task. And so what we were planning to do, I think, just wanted, first of all, to say thank you. And thank you for those, the helpful reminder about meeting conduct. We can, all of us, me included, certainly, it helps to look at those rules every now and then. So appreciate that. Thank you again for all your time on this. I know it's been like a long time. We're looking at, you know, many months here, but I think we're getting very close based on what we've seen from the last comments and the work that has been done. And working with you and with the town engineering department have really come up with a plan that with some conditions as appear to be proposed by the engineering department, looks like we might be in a position to be asking you to move forward for an order of conditions. But before we do that, we do have Paige here from Niche as well as Michelle Callahan. We also have other members from the team here if there are any questions beyond what is addressed by Paige. So I think in the first instance, she's going to be addressing stormwater. I know that Bill Renaud is not here tonight, but I believe his capable assistant here is here. Tim, I think, is here. There have been some meetings between Niche and the town engineers department on April 10th, I believe, and then as well as this morning. So we've got some really up-to-date information from the town engineer. Oh, wait, there's Bill. So Bill can speak for himself. Thank you. I wasn't meaning to speak for you there. So he can certainly weigh in on the meeting and the comments that he provided to us this afternoon, but I think we're really close. So appreciate your time tonight. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Paige to address the changes that have been made to the plan since the last meeting to address certain concerns as raised by the engineers department. Thank you.
thank you.
Hi, everyone. As Julie mentioned, my name is Paige Blanchard. I'm a project engineer with Niche Engineering working on the stormwater design. I've been working closely with Dave Conway throughout this process. So as Julie mentioned, we've been working with the engineering department and had multiple meetings. So they've asked that I just highlight for everyone the changes that we've made since the last meeting. So if I could share my screen.
Yes, please do, Paige.
Let me know when everyone can see it.
We have it.
Great. Okay, so this is the same general approach that you've been seeing all along, but the main update that we've made since the last time we spoke is we have slightly rearranged and revised subsurface system number 3 and number 4. And the reason we did that was to provide as much infiltration as possible within the footprint that we could based off of the elevation of bedrock and groundwater. So we reconfigured these systems to allow for more infiltration, and then we reduced system number 8, which is a detention system, to a very small, it's only 3 chambers. And the reason we did this was to provide the maximum amount of volume reduction that we could. So the design points 12C, which is the design point that leads to the offsite wetland on town property, and then design point 3, which leads to a wetland series 3. We've been working to minimize volumes as much as possible and rates. And then we've also reduced the amount of detention, but we still kept this system because this system provided an isolator row, which had additional water quality. So all of the systems still provide the same amount of treatment, which is the water quality structure, and then the isolator row. And that is the same approach for both the systems that infiltrate. We've just expanded these systems. So really that's the main change that we've been working on with the engineering department. The majority of the rest of the site is hasn't changed. So that's really all we wanted to highlight on. It's just really that we've worked to reduce all of these volumes to alleviate any concerns. And I think I can turn it back over to Julie with that.
Thank you, Paige. So the only thing then I guess is left for us to do is I don't know if the commission members have had the opportunity to see the engineering department's memo of this afternoon, but we're happy to go through that as needed to address any of the comments further beyond what's in the memo. So if you have any questions specifically, or would you prefer we just proceed through the memo?
Yeah, I don't know that all of us have actually seen that memo yet, so it would be great to go through it. And I'm
Okay.
not sure would it make sense for Bill to go through those comments?
There he is.
I am here. Yeah, I could, or Julie, if you want to go through, I mean, if you have it, I mean.
I
go
was
for it.
going to say, I don't want to put Bill on
I
the
don't have it
spot.
in front of me, so you're more than welcome to go after it.
Thanks. We're
Yeah.
prepared to do that.
Okay. And I'd be happy to answer any questions that you have on it, though, for sure.
Right. Yeah, certainly. Feel free to leap in, Bill, as needed. We appreciate that. So Paige, if you have that document, do you want to just go through and we can just let us know when you have any questions on any particular issues?
May I just ask, did you send that to the Conservation Commission email address?
We usually typically send it just to I think we sent it to Jim and Bob today, I believe, right, Tim?
I haven't seen it.
That's
Yeah.
correct.
Okay.
Jim, you said you haven't seen it?
No.
Oh, actually, you know what? I found it came through at about 3:13 this afternoon.
Mhm.
Yeah, okay. I have not actually seen it either, other than just clicking on it right now. So yeah, let's definitely go through that.
Thank you.
Julie, do you want to share screen or would you like me to?
If you could share your screen, thank you.
Can everyone see it?
Yes.
I guess I can just skim to the ones that are still open. Julie, would you like to take the lead on this, or sorry?
You're muted, Julie.
Sorry. Paige, why don't you take the lead? I'll leap in as I need to and add comments as you go. But I agree, we're just going to go over the comments that are new, responses that are new from the last memo.
Okay.
Paige, we can go back and forth too as well. I'm Michelle Callahan, I'm a project manager at Niche Engineering. I'm filling in for Dave Conway today.
Thank you,
Okay.
Michelle.
One open item is to field survey the culvert that leads to June Circle. We have no objection to that. We are basing that off of record information as of now, but that can definitely be provided as a condition.
And I'll just leap in there. It didn't take long. Usually it doesn't. Sorry, Paige, didn't want to interrupt your flow. Just to be clear, this is something we're doing in the spirit of cooperation. It's an off-site condition, so it's not technically within the jurisdiction for this project, but we would prefer to just handle that cooperatively with the engineering department. And so arrangements we made, and as Paige said, that can be an order, or it can one of the conditions in the order of conditions.
Scrolling. I'm just skipping the ones that say addressed. I believe the next open item is to provide a groundwater mounding analysis at subsurface system 3 and 4, which are the two systems that I just highlighted on screen as we've been rearranging them. So I actually ran it this afternoon and we don't see any red flags, but we'll definitely submit that to the engineering department. That can also be a condition, but based off of our calculations that we just did today, based on the latest plan, we don't see any concerns with that. We'll be happy to provide that to Bill and Tim.
Paige, is that, which number was that?
Number
15?
15, yep.
Okay. All right, so the engineering response on that one, less than 4 feet. Okay. All right, got it.
Okay. These have all been addressed. The next open item is the updated site sequencing plan for construction that has been prepared by our construction team. So they've actually provided an updated version that was submitted today, but we anticipate that as the site contractor is selected, they will update that plan and make sure to work with engineering, when it gets time to have the specific site contractor be developing a plan. Right now is a preliminary plan. So that can also be a condition as they get into selecting the site contractor. A comment remains, which is regarding the blasting plan, and that potentially we would need a peer review of the blasting plan. I think the team discussed that the fire department or someone would be open to that peer review, but that it would likely be provided by the fire department. Julie, I'm not sure if you want to add a little bit more to that one.
Yes, thank you. Based on our review, the best peer review comes through the fire department or through the state fire marshal's office. So we are happy to obtain peer review through one of those sources.
Do they look at environmental impacts from blasting chemicals? I think that's the question that.
That's the comment. And that's what the comment's about.
Right. That's not what I've seen of the regulations, and what the fire department does is it's managing explosives, and it regulates the vibration issues that may occur as a result of blasts. It's a public safety review, which is why I think Bill's leaving the comment open around hydrology and other environmental impacts. I'm not sure that's a fire department area of expertise.
The chemicals, any chemicals that would be used would be those that are approved and appropriate for the purpose under the regulations and would be duly appropriate. So they could certainly be a condition that blasting comply with all state and local regulatory requirements for blasting, including the use of chemicals, is really the issue. So we are prepared to condition it on the use of appropriate chemicals if it's used for the location. And that's, we can't speak to hydrology, but we can certainly speak to the chemicals, and that's where the concern is. So we're absolutely prepared to address that and work with the town engineers department, the fire department, and anyone else that we need to make sure that whatever materials are used are obviously protective of any jurisdictional resource areas that could be impacted.
Okay.
Okay.
And can I proceed?
Yes, yes.
The final remaining comment is regarding the use of potassium chloride for the snow management plan. We've been working with the town engineer on that, and we've provided a snow management plan that specifies the different zones where different materials can be used. And we've been working really hard to be sensitive to the resource areas. So I think that we've come to a good agreement at this point with the town engineer, but I think it's just open so that, we can keep it in mind as we move forward.
That's right. To clarify, we have been working with the town engineer on snow management plan, including the types of chemicals, and obviously want to use whatever is going to be the most protective, not only of the resource area property, but also the lake and other resource areas. So I think the engineering department has noted that we're prepared and continue to work with them to address this going forward.
I have a question on that. I'm more concerned that you don't really talk about the application of these chemicals. And I wonder if more information is required as to how you're going to apply the chemicals or what equipment, because you mentioned the DOT. And when I look through the DOT's manual, they talk about a lot of things I don't think are practical or capable for a school to do, such as the equipment that they're going to use, and they have weather stations that check the asphalt temperature for the different chemicals they're using. And how are you going to properly apply these chemicals without the correct equipment to do it? And how are you going to keep track of that?
I'm gonna ask my team member Kevin Nigro to answer this question, as he's a bit more familiar with the details, having worked with the engineering department on this. Kevin, I
Yes,
think he
Jim.
has his hand up.
I do, yes.
Yep.
Mr.
Go ahead,
Chairman,
Kevin.
yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. And thank you, Jim, for the question. Jim, we wanted to submit a package that showed that we did some detailed investigation and analysis and have been working directly with the engineering department for the best fit for this project. We would be using standard snow fighting equipment, same as used throughout the town. Probably a lot smaller, in a smaller dump type body truck with a spreader at an application rate and chemicals that are reviewed and approved by the town engineering department. We've agreed with that, and we're not looking to do anything outside of what the town does to fight snow and ice as well.
Okay.
Same type of equipment.
Can I ask one more question?
Absolutely.
I haven't seen what the town has put out there for information for you for that. Is that something we can put the screen up on to look at, or?
I don't understand the question, sir.
You said that you worked with the town on how
Yeah,
you.
sure. Oh, okay, I understand. So our Dave Conway,
Yeah.
in his many phone conversations and team meetings with town engineering, has
Yeah.
been working back and forth with Bill to agree on chemicals and rates and different things like that. And we haven't come to a conclusion. But again, as Julie said, we think this is something that's done all over town in 351 cities and towns in Massachusetts. And that we
Right.
can come to a good solution working cooperatively with engineering. And we would be happy if you made it an order of condition that the town approves it. Thank you.
So Kevin, is there a preliminary plan for us to take a look at, or is that still being worked on with town engineer?
So we did, as requested, come up with a plan for snow plowing and storage and the deposit where it would go. We
Right.
don't have the application rates yet or the specified materials. We're still working on that with
Okay.
the town engineer.
All right. Understood. Thank you.
Again, it seems like one of the finer details that you can put in the order of conditions that we work it out with the engineers, and we certainly will before any snow and ice fighting is conducted.
Okay.
I have a
thank you.
question.
Go ahead, Haley.
Has the school agreed to all of this, and what are they doing to ensure that that's going to be followed in the future?
Yeah, I can say that the school has. The school's been part of the. We don't do any of this in a vacuum. Everything is run by the building committee along with the school administration. The school administration has put us in touch with their current contractor, that's snow and ice contractor for the school. And they gave us some ideas about materials and things that they can provide. The caveat there is that in Massachusetts, you can only have a contract for a certain amount of years. And this contractor may not be the final person that when we open the school does snow and ice fighting. So what the administration has said they will do is we will include any order of condition, regulation or any prohibition that's put on us as part of the contract that goes out. When we solicit the public bid for snow and ice fighting, whatever it is that the town engineer and the Concom are in agreement with, that is made part of the order of conditions, will make part of the bid. Therefore, it will get executed.
Bob, may I just ask the town engineer whether or not he's satisfied with these responses? I mean, if there's any comments?
So we received an updated plan. This comment goes back to probably 3 meetings ago. I mean, we haven't discussed this in probably 3 meetings. So I thought that issue was pretty close to being closed, and there was just a decision being made on the final material to be used, I believe, is how we left it. So I believe Jim was sort of kind of taking the lead on the comments for the commission on that. So, we're happy to take a look at application rates if that's what's needed or anything else. But at this point, we haven't discussed this in I don't know how many meetings at this point, so.
And I meant with respect to all issues having to do with the stormwater report.
We're pretty comfortable with the stormwater at this point. So, we want the survey to be done to confirm the elevation going to June Circle, just to make sure the model's correct. If there's an issue with that, then there would be some tweaks to it, but I don't think it would be anything that's major. I think the updated plans that they've done, this is a good stormwater design at this point. So we're pretty comfortable.
And can I just mention that we have not gotten back the report from our own consultant about the revised stormwater report. Rebecca, is that correct?
That's correct. I haven't heard anything from Don.
Mr. Chairman, could I ask who, Don, is this BSC group you're talking about?
Yes, that's correct.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought that we had answered all of BSC group's questions, and we're now, the past, I think, 3 or 4 reviews have been conducted by the town engineering department. We've been going back and forth with them.
Yeah, we've been working with BSC, so their last rounds of comments have been included.
Thank you. I thought so.
Thank you.
Yeah, so they're good at this point, but if we wanted to get a letter from them, you definitely can ask for that.
Hey, Peter, I do see your hand up.
Yeah, I would just 2 quick points. One is whether we had talked about some baseline testing, and that was to make sure that we at least have some current data to go off. And the other is, and just the other is a general question about, is it appropriate for us as a commission just to delegate the issue to the town engineer and accept whatever the results are? Or is it us, or is the better approach for us to ask for the recommendation of the town engineer and hear it out and approve it?
So I guess.
Sorry, I don't know the answer to the question. So
Yeah,
I'd ask my
so
colleagues that question.
Between our peer reviewer and the town engineer, we're relying, on their expertise. In addition to whatever we provide also. So really, and we also have had public participation, bringing up concerns.
I guess I would have thought this would have been something that would be reduced to a specific, at least initially to a specific plan that we would not just have to pass on with no specifics. That this would just be up to the town engineer.
Well, the conservation agent, you could do that as well. I've seen that done in the past, so that the 2 of us review it.
I should have been more clear, Mr. Chairman, and said that. I shouldn't be putting this all in bill. We absolutely would work through Rebecca, integral part of the whole process to date, and we continue on. I should preface when I say town of us, it would be Rebecca and Bill's group. That'd be fine.
Right. Thank you for clarifying. One quick comment on the snow removal and application. We do want to make sure there's a vehicle in place that whoever is doing snow removal and or de-icing is aware of, whatever is put in place conditionally for that, whether it's a private contractor or town vehicles or whatever. We want to make sure that the language is, given to that contractor or whoever it is doing that work. And that sometimes does get lost.
Yeah, we agree with that, Mr. Chairman, and I noted earlier that we already spoke with the administrator from the school that does purchasing and said that whatever condition was put on us would need to be made part of the bid package when it goes back out, so that the successful contractor, responsible and responsive contractor, would be required to meet that standard.
Okay, great. Thank you for clarifying.
But Bob,
Yes.
I would put to you though that as a commission, we have to take into account the possibility things don't, in life, things don't go according to plan. And I think that one of the things we have to consider is is if it doesn't, are we satisfied with the, are we satisfied with that that the wetlands would nevertheless be protected? I guess that goes to me. I guess to me that goes to the adequacy of the buffer zones to the wetlands. And that's something that's something that's still on my mind.
Okay.
Just want to say it.
Okay, Paige, is there anything else on this document to review?
Those are all the open items, and then the last page is recommended conditions by the engineering department, and there's 3 recommended conditions. Would you like to proceed with those?
Yes, please.
So I guess I could just read them. I don't know if that would be.
Yeah, go ahead.
So the first one is regarding the roundabout. The town has requested the project implement a roundabout at the Farm Street entrance and the town has requested the project implement a roundabout at the Farm Street entrance and has agreed to perform design, permitting, and manage the construction of the roundabout. Additionally, the town is evaluating improvements to the drainage system in Farm Street routed through June Circle. Completion of this work may require easements through the applicant's property. So the recommended condition is prior to the request for a certificate of occupancy, the developer shall provide temporary and permanent easements as necessary to complete the above noted work to the engineering division for review and approval. So that's the first one. The second one is prior to the request for certificate of compliance or certificate of occupancy, the developer shall provide for review and approval as-built drawings in CAD and PDF form, including the location of all drainage, sewer, water, roadway, gas, and electric infrastructure. A letter shall be prepared by a professional engineer noting all changes between the as-built conditions and the approved plan and stormwater report, including a statement that all work has been completed within substantial compliance of the approval. And then condition 3, the developer will be required to hire at their expense an environmental monitor to provide review of the construction phase sedimentation control. The environmental monitor shall be approved by the DPW based on experience and shall provide the engineering division with periodic inspection reports at frequencies outlined within the approved SWIP.
Can I just make a comment to the first recommended condition, since we don't issue certificates of occupancy? It'd be like this, the condition for number 2 prior to a request for a certificate of compliance.
Yep, that makes sense.
Yeah, and that's part of our standard order
Right,
with
anyway.
the as-built.
No, I meant for the first condition. So
Oh, okay.
Mhm. So does this mean, we just says completion of the work? That implies sort of a temporary, that implies something temporary, just, is this, are we looking at only temporary, easements necessary to complete the work, or are these permanent easements necessary for the, so that the improvements can be made?
We're prepared to provide whatever easements are required, whether temporary or whatever, depending on
Okay.
what's needed.
Okay.
And we would also agree to, so is provided that the easements and whoever is using the easements is also required to comply with whatever conditions we have on the use of the property and the protection of the resource area.
And is requirement the right, or is it reasonably requested? I just don't want to have such a high bar of,
No, it shouldn't be. Yeah, we would. It's yes, I agree with you. I understand what you're saying. I'm sorry, I whiffed on it the first time. Yes, requirement's a bit of a high bar. Obviously, if there are easements necessary to complete the roundabout, then they're going to happen. And I suppose I'm not even sure if necessary is the right word, but
I was just say reasonably requested. I mean, I don't mind. Reasonableness is of course something that that the town would need to show. But
sure.
I just want to make sure that we're not we don't know what we don't know right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And the applicant would endeavor to cooperate with the town with that reasonable request.
I do have a question also on number 1. I guess it's probably for Bill. The town is evaluating improvements to the drainage system in Farm Street routed through June Circle.
Yep.
Any idea what those potential improvements are?
Yeah, I mean, we're looking at the actual 12-inch line that goes into June Circle as an improvement for a long-term project. And then we may look at drainage improvements in Farm Street to pick up some of that stormwater so it doesn't dump into the wetland that's there. But there's a hydraulic analysis that we have to do all of that. So
Okay.
I'm speaking with an engineer on Friday. That'll probably be our consultant for that. So we're looking to start that soon.
And I do know you will be scoping that 12-inch pipe at some point also, correct?
Yeah, I believe we've already done that, right,
Okay.
Tim? I think that might have already been done. The question is on the cleaning component of it and what we were able to get through. I haven't seen the results yet.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, that was completed. I have the video that we can review, to go
Okay.
through that.
Great, thanks, Tim.
Excellent. Okay, Paige, anything else?
That's everything that's in the letter.
Okay, great. Does the commission have any other questions about anything we just reviewed?
So just to confirm, so we're not gonna be asking Dom for anything because we think it's all, as Bill said, included in what Bill produced and questioned.
Mhm. Yeah, his last round of comments were incorporated in, they addressed those.
And you're okay with having those be conditioned as opposed to having them done now and reviewed before this is conditioned?
All of the items in my mind are pretty minor, so you could
Okay.
either condition them, or if you wanted to require it to be completed prior to, that's up to your decision as a commission, so. But I'm
Thank you.
I'm good either way.
I have a question.
Go ahead, Haley.
First would be the page, and then I'd love to get Bill's thoughts on it as well. Going through all this stormwater report and everything, knowing what's going on with the whole project. If you lived on June Circle, would you feel comfortable with this happening behind you?
Is that question, and who's that question specifically for? Haley?
So page first, and then I'd like Bill's thoughts as well.
Could I just interject, please, first before the engineers speak, Mr. Romano?
Yes, Kevin.
Thank you. I'd just like to, that's a great question, and I want to just point out that these past, I think, several phone calls, team meetings, and back and forth between the engineering department and our engineers, along with Rebecca, have been about June Circle. And part of that stormwater management plan that Gilbane had put together for us, we made a few tweaks to that in response to further protecting June Circle. So I just wanted to put that out there, that we're aware that there was site walks. We're aware that there's concerns. We have been aware, and we are working again cooperatively with the engineering department. And that was, I think, what resulted in us but agreeing to redo our hydrology and report and some final tweaks. So we have committed to assisting with the June Circle issue.
All right, thank you, Kevin. And I know Tim did comment on this last week. Yeah, I don't specifically remember what was exactly said, but the town has, they cannot obviously increase the rate or volume that's going through there. But we're also looking at, making a better situation, right? And that's what Bill just alluded to.
Yeah, but that's, again, it's the town's responsibility to do that down the road, and that'll tie in with the high school project. It's a much longer dialogue on that piece, so I'd like to leave it out of this meeting, because we'll be in before you to talk about it at some point. But I would say, at this point, they've demonstrated that they have a no net increase in volume and rate to my satisfaction. So I'm good with the design at this point for the stormwater.
All right, thank you. Any other questions from the commission regarding what was just presented to us?
Just on the blasting, Bob, Bill's comments indicate that the blasting question of peer review is still open. Is that something that there should be a condition addressing here?
I think you could, for sure. Yeah. I mean, the intent here is, as they're blasting, just to confirm that there's no change in groundwater patterns and then any contamination. That's basically the gist of what I'm trying to get across. That's my area of expertise, blasting, for sure. I'm not going to pretend to know that. So, there are experts that look at this stuff that is not the town engineer or our staff. So that a little bit of help on that. That would be my only kind of outstanding comment that is related to the process.
Then we should consider that, I suppose, in our development of conditions, Bob.
Yes, for sure.
Okay.
I do see a question from a member of the public. I do have a question regarding something we covered 2 meetings ago, but I'll hold that for now. Christine, would you like to ask your question? Please.
Sure, thank you. Yes, I submitted some comments on the stormwater report to Bill and to the commission, and I just wanted to make sure you saw those and considered those, first of all.
Yeah, I saw them for sure. Yeah, we read through.
Okay, because I did have some concerns regarding the drawdown calculations that are used as the basis to say that there's compliance with the standard 3 for groundwater infiltration. And I just wanted to raise a few points. Given that throughout the stormwater report, there's mention that the presence of bedrock throughout the site makes charge visible at most locations. Can you hear me?
Somebody does not have their phone muted. I will mute those who are not talking right now.
Thank you.
Right.
Okay.
Sorry, Christine. Go ahead.
So,
please.
okay, so just noting that throughout the report, there's mention that the presence of bedrock makes recharge considered unfeasible at most locations. I was concerned about a few things in this calculation for the SS3 area, which is on the hilltop. One being that rather than using hydrologic soil group D, which reflects rock, pretty much bedrock, we used soil group B, which is sandy loam. And given that all of that soil is going to be scraped off before you install the subsurface stormwater system, I just didn't know the rationale for using this soil group B, which has a much higher infiltration rate rather than D, which would in fact result in you exceeding the 72-hour drawdown requirement. So that was just one question. And then also I was looking at the sides of that subsurface area system, and it does show the subsurface system with the chambers and such, and then next to it a stone reservoir. And it seems like you're using the base area of the combined subsurface system with the chambers and the stone reservoir in your drawdown calculation. And that doesn't seem appropriate. It seems like you should just use the bottom area for the stormwater system with the chambers, given that you use the static method and that the stone reservoir should be the recharge volume for that should be calculated in a different way, which would actually give a higher recharge volume for that whole area. So it seems like I'm not sure why those two were blended. Maybe there's a rationale for that, but in my reading of the stormwater management compliance manual, those two types of systems would be treated differently. The stone reservoir treated one way, and then the chambered subsurface stormwater collection system another way in terms of calculating the 72-hour drawdown.
Thank you, Christine. Hey, Bill, I don't know, I haven't even read the email yet. I'm not sure if you are prepared to answer those two questions at this point.
I can, unless
Okay.
Paige wants to go through it. I mean, but I can answer.
Okay, sure.
So, Paige, do you want to take a stab, or do you want me to? I'm good either way.
You can go first and then I can follow up with anything.
So the stone reservoir, I mean, that is part of the volume that's allowed, to be used within it. So we typically look at the surface, the contact area where the water can hit in order to infiltrate. So that's how they did their calculation. The section that you referenced, though, was talking about a like if you were to use like a pipe and how to calculate the volume of your detention or infiltration system. So it's kind of you were comparing two different things. So that's where I think maybe the confusion is.
The
So when
stone
you look at
reservoir
the-
is
when
not,
you're looking at your-
isn't the stone reservoir a separate element here? It's not part of the
No,
chamber.
it's all part, it all acts the same because it's all the stone touches both sections. So typically you don't see it next to, the way they're designed it is it's kind of next to it, but you know, I've seen it where people expand the stones out so they can get the volume that they need. That's basically what they were doing. And they use the void space like they're supposed to. So all of that was reviewed. Drawdown calculation wise, I believe that they used did you use the static or the dynamic? I can't remember, but Tim, you might be able to jump in on that one. Because I believe you reviewed the drawdown calcs, right? So it was
Yeah,
all the
I took
76.
I took a look at the drawdown calcs. The question on the soil groups, I did review that. You know, based on the existing conditions and then the proposed conditions, the area they're putting in those infiltration, there's a lot of fill there. So they're not on the bedrock with the systems. There's room for it to infiltrate.
And there's all, yeah, and then to kind of build on that. So the reason that they used the B soils was based on my my observations of the test holes that they did. So that's the reason.
So there's fill there, there's fill in that, I mean, aren't they excavating
So-
down? How deep are you excavating down to get those systems in? That's gonna be, the fill's gonna be gone, right?
They're going to strip off the topsoil and the subsoil. They get to the natural bearing material, then they build up. So they're building up with, you know, a specialized material. So it's going to be similar to like a septic system. So it'd be a sand that allows the water to go through it. And when I reviewed it, I was in the field with the folks doing the test holes. I made sure I went out there to look at them, as opposed to just getting the test holes provided. And I saw a B soil that was there. It was a sandy loam.
But that's gonna be taken off
On all of
before they install these.
No, so there's 3 layers of soil. There's 3 layers of soil. So you have your topsoil, subsoil, and then your parent material. So the hydrologic soil group is based upon the parent material. So it's not based upon the stuff on the top. And they have areas that they had depth. So we looked at those test holes to make sure that it would work. And this goes back to probably the first or second meeting that we were talking about. Where originally, if you recall, there wasn't any areas of infiltration. So we had them revise the design to make sure that they could get the infiltration in. So that was one of the, based on those soil tests that I saw and witnessed, that they could fit in and make the infiltration systems work on the site. So that's why we did it that way. And so I directed them to do it that way. And then anywhere where they had to blast it out, we considered that to be impervious. So any exposed ledge that was required to be changed to an impervious surface. So we looked at all of these different pieces within it. So, but this is all direction that the engineering division provided the applicant back at the beginning of this process.
And you have 2 feet to groundwater in that location?
Yeah, we assumed if we didn't find groundwater, we assumed the ledge to be groundwater. But you have fractures and stuff, so things move through. So that's pretty much standard practice.
Yeah, Bill, if I remember right, that was 2 summers ago, and we invited yourself, your team, and members of the Concom to observe those pits. They were out there as well.
Yeah, last year. I think Elaine was there.
Sorry.
As well.
Yeah.
Elaine was there as well.
We did have a representative there.
Yes,
Yeah,
thank you.
yeah. So we all went through it together. Looked at it. Yeah.
I was there for those 2.
Yeah.
I remember you, Jim.
Could I ask one more question of the commission?
Yes, please, Christian.
And Bob, please advise me about whether this is proper procedure. And I wondered if each of the commission members could answer this question. Is that okay?
So
The question is,
wait a minute,
Maybe
hang
I
on
should
a
ask the
sec.
question.
I'm not clear what the request is. Are you?
well, I'd like to hear from each of the commission members to see if each one could answer this question.
That's not going to happen.
No, I don't think that's appropriate.
Well, because I'm trying to gauge what your thinking is at this point regarding this issue of maximum extent practicable, because that's kind of where we're at right now with this stormwater and, whether all of the standards are met. And, we're in that realm of considering whether the site, whether the project has achieved these standards to the maximum extent practicable.
You'd be asking
And so
us to essentially render a decision or a vote by doing that, and that would not be appropriate at this time.
Okay, well, I'm trying to gauge your thinking on this question of environmentally sensitive site design. Because
We-
again, that was a concept throughout the report. And I just want to make sure that the commission members and the town engineer are all aware that there's specific criteria for judging that. It's not just a phrase that we throw around, that there really are standards and bars for that, and that that is, you know, part and parcel of the decision regarding maximum extent practicable. And I hope that everyone will really consider what environmentally sensitive design is, you know, specifically on a site that is removing 14 acres of trees and creating much more than 15% impervious surface and altering bordering vegetated wetlands and impacting wildlife habitat. All of those things are criteria for environmentally sensitive design, and those are not what's happening at the project. So I just offering that, and I'm hoping that the commission will take seriously those criteria in viewing whether the site has, you know, achieved the stormwater and wetland standards.
Christine, was this all in your letter that you submitted today?
Well, maybe the passion wasn't in there, but
I don't know that, I have not seen it all, and I don't think the other members have had a chance to even read that yet, where it came in today.
well, I submitted, no, I worked very hard to get it in last Thursday before noon, April 13th. I made a correction to one of the comments today. So April 13th, last Thursday, I submitted the majority of this, and today I made a correction. So
Right, we will certainly review that. Thank you for your points.
okay.
All right. Any other questions from the commission right now? We are actually over time. I did have one question, I guess, from the last meeting. And David had talked about roof runoff going into a vernal pool. And, you know, we didn't necessarily have a chance to talk a lot about that. But I mean, vernal pools are supposed to be dry at certain parts of the year. And you know, one of my questions was, is that contributing more water than it's already getting now? And I'm not sure who that question would be for, if it's Paige or not. And, you know, is that going to be an impact to that vernal pool? Is it going to cause it to be wet and turn into a wetland or not? Paige, do you know what David was referring to?
Yes. So we have intentionally only directed roof water to the vernal pool because it is the cleanest water that would not have any TSS or pollutants in it. So that was why we routed any site water away from the vernal pool. We worked to keep the 1 and 2 year storm events within 10% of the volumes of the existing condition, so that during those small storm events, that the amount of water that the wetland would see would be similar to what it's seeing in its existing condition.
He had specifically stated, I believe, roof runoff going into a vernal pool. You familiar with that? All right.
Yep, that's what I'm referring to. It's wetland.
Okay.
It's wetland 5.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. So you're saying there'd be within 10, no more than 20% difference than what exists now?
The 1 and the 2 year storm are within 10%
10%.
of the existing storm.
Okay.
Yeah, how about the 25 year?
I don't have that number off the top of my head.
So we asked them to do budget analysis for each of the wetlands. So that was done.
Okay.
So Tim, I think you looked at that. So one of the comments that we had, they had a grassed area that was a couple of area drains that were going to it. So we didn't want any, obviously, the nutrients and stuff to go into that wetland as well. So that was what the original comment from our group was about. And we've asked them to balance budgets for all of these areas. So we've looked at flooding heights within them during different storms, all of that stuff. So that has been part of their model, so that we would know if that was going to have a higher impact to the wetland.
Okay.
Or to the vernal pool, depending on what it is.
I was
Yeah.
referring to the volumes previously, but I just checked our spreadsheet and we actually keep the elevations within 1 inch in all storm events.
Okay, thank you. We are over time, but I will take one more question from the public. Bob Brooks?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Bob Brooks, June Circle. If I could ask Paige to bring up that chart she showed first when she got on tonight.
Paige, could you bring up the drawing with the two new revised sections?
Oh,
What is
good,
your
thank
question,
you.
Bob?
The question I have is, you mentioned earlier in your statement that you were going to mitigate the volume to the discharge area to the town wetlands on town property. Do you have an amount, what the volume is to be, that is discharged now or anticipated what it would be?
Yep, that's all provided in the stormwater report. Those numbers. I don't have them off the top of my head, but we are reducing the volumes and rates.
Okay, yeah, but they're in the report. Can I find that report?
Yes, we will. Well, there's a version that should be public right now, but we are based off of this update here for this system. We're going to provide an updated report with those numbers.
Is that the discharge tube that's up there that's kind of in dark black there?
Yes, there's 2 discharges, one here
Yep.
and one here.
And they're going out, both going out to town land.
Correct.
Okay. That brings me to another question I think that Bill Renault, the town engineer, may handle, because he was out in that area with Tim several weeks ago and saw the area of the elevation of my house. And because my house is built on ledge and rock also, I'm very concerned about the water that actually comes out there and would possibly come through my area, my foundation, specifically where the last storm we had 2.5 inches and my sump pump was on for 4.5 days on and off. And we know, the elevation from the wetlands, my house is higher than my neighbor's, which is directly behind it. Did you have any comments on that, Bill, or how would that affect?
Yeah, so we had separate analysis points all along the back. So we looked at the wetlands that are there, and then we also looked at what would go towards Stone Way as well. So we had them look at all of these different areas. So originally what they were doing is concentrating all the flow to wetland 1, basically routing it all there. This now spreads it out across, but it adds the infiltration so that you're overflowing to match what already leaves and goes there today. So this is, in my opinion, a better design. So it mimics the natural flow of water that gets there. I mean, granted, it's a little bit more concentrated, but it's going to wetlands. So it will go, it would get there anyway. If this wasn't built, it would be, it'd be getting there to the same wetland. So it's going to operate the same as it would.
Would that flow more downstream towards Stone Way and Rivers Lane, where we see the back drainage out in the back there?
It would go towards that wetland system, yeah. Yeah, one of the discharges, Paige, you can help me with this because I haven't looked at it in a couple of weeks, but yeah, there's a couple of areas that we looked along that whole stretch where we put some divide lines in so that we're comparing apples to apples and not just the property line as our analysis point, which is what it was initially. So this should match what basically the critical wetland areas are. And so those downstream wetlands that really are further away from the property will be getting the same amount of water that they weren't going to get before.
Okay, yeah, I was just concerned about, exactly how my house is where.
No,
where it fits
understood.
in.
And just to so you know, Bob, we're looking at the whole run, that whole wetland system through all of the streets. And
Okay.
trying to make an improvement to all of that and go after grant funding for that. So, I committed to that in my site walk with you, and we're moving forward with that.
Okay, I just want to make sure. All right, thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Yeah, just a reminder that all questions should be going through the host or the chair. and not directly to either the applicant or the town engineer.
My apologies.
That's okay, thank you. I know I did say we would be finished after Bob's question, but there is one more question. And then we really will have to move on, because we are 15 minutes over and we have other applicants waiting now for us. So, Sasha, I do see your hand raised. Do you have a question?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. What
You're
about
welcome.
all the pollution and everything now that everything's going to change because the forest is going to be gone? And now we have all this stormwater and we have all these cars and trash and you name it. So how does that take into account with the stormwater report? How are they going to mitigate that? Is that included in the stormwater report? I don't understand how it can't change all the wetlands that are going to be affected. Like even the water that's running down Farm Street now and June Circle, it's going to have all kinds of stuff in it. So how does that get mitigated, please? Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
So somewhat complicated question because there's a number of things in there. Not quite sure the easiest way to answer that.
Well,
Bill, Jim, do you want to take that or?
I just want to say, isn't that what this whole thing is about? Is to try to have no impact, negative impact, or keep things as they are. That's what we have the hearing for. It's what we're trying to accomplish is to make sure what Sasha's worried about doesn't happen.
Correct. Not sure if that really answered the question. It's a complicated question because you're talking about a number of different streams, trash and other types of things. So yeah, I mean, our concern is all of those items. And we are trying to address all of those individually, not necessarily through the stormwater, but through everything else. Julie, I do see your hand is raised.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you again for your time. I just want to say, yes, the commission, and as Jim pointed out, that's been sort of the point of your review is how to address any of these potential impacts to the resource areas and to eliminate them where possible, and avoid disturbance of anything more than is necessary. And I think that the school is committed. It has been a steward of its land and is committed to continuing to do so. And as part of this process, we've worked with you and the town engineers department to make this plan better. And we've heard from the engineer tonight that the stormwater he considers to be a good report. So with that, I think we've probably answered all the questions the commission has, but we would ask if we could move to an order of conditions and certainly would be willing and able to offer whatever assistance we can with that. Thank you again for your time. We know this is a big project and it's taken a long time to get here.
Thank you. So I know I did say that was it for questions. We are well over time now. We do have applicants waiting for us. We don't feel right now that we're in a position to close tonight. We still need to have some conversations with our peer reviewer, and we do have some additional questions that we do want to work with Bill on, and also with the applicant. But we are getting closer, and I do thank everybody's participation, including the public, for bringing up these concerns and working with us through this project. It's the most complicated project that we've ever had before us. And has required the most amount of work from everybody and the most participation from everybody to get where we are today. So again, I do want to thank everybody for their participation. That being said, we do need to move on. Again, we do have applicants patiently waiting, 20 minutes now overdue. So we will be moving on to our next topic, and we'll continue this to Tuesday, May 2nd. So again, thank you for your time. Thank you for participation.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, good night.
Thank you.
And I apologize for being so over time here. We do have 8 o'clock 572 to 596 North Ave. There is no file number at this point. Public hearing notice of intent for the construction of a 36-unit apartment building within a buffer to BVW. Is the applicant here?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, for the record, Chris Sparagis, civil engineer and professional engineer from the Engineering and Survey Office of Williams and Sparagis in Middleton. Can everyone hear me okay?
Yes, thank you.
With me here this evening is the project attorney, Jesse Schomer from Regnante Stereo. And representing the ownership of the property, Dana Lopez is also present this evening for questions should anything come up. Is it okay to jump right in, Mr. Chair?
Yes, please do.
Okay, thank you. We're pleased to present this project that we've been working very hard with various town officials and the Zoning Board of Appeals for a while now. Is it okay to share my screen?
Yes, please.
Okay, thanks. Okay, so can everyone see this index plan here?
Yes.
Okay, great. The subject property is located at 596 and to 572 to 596 North Ave. And we are located in the northwest section of Wakefield on the westerly side of North Avenue. You can see North Ave here. And then just the north arrow is up and to the left here. We're just a quarter mile from the intersection that we have with 128. That's exit 57 on Route 128, the Reading Town line. And we are in a single residence district that abuts a business zoned area. We are a parcel that's approximately 5.06 acres, so just over 5 acres. And if I were to sort of zoom in a little bit here, here's the parcel in total here, just over 5 acres, and about half of it is wetland and about half of it is upland. About 2.3 acres of upland between the front part of the project, which is just about an acre. And then the rear part of the property, there's also a relatively good sized upland area. And then the wetland area is in the middle of the project here, 2.7 acres of wetland. Just to the south and west of the project, we abut 2 other apartment projects that are similar in nature to ours. This is the location of 598 North Ave and 600 North Ave, an 18-unit project and a 24-unit project. These projects were approved in 2018 and then in 2015 for the property at 600. We're here before the commission tonight because a portion of our property is located within the buffer zone of a bordering vegetative wetland. Our wetland system borders on a stream that runs through the middle of the property here. If I go back to the layout plan, it starts from the southwest area where the MBTA line is located here. There's a railroad track and a culvert that discharges at the railroad tracks. This is an intermittent stream that runs through the property and then into a 36-inch corrugated metal pipe right at North Avenue. And then it continues on to Lake Quantapowhat. If we were to zoom out and show you the permit plan set again, you can see Lake Quantapowhat off in the distance here. That pipe enters the street drainage system of North Avenue down Willard Road, and then eventually discharges to Lake Quantapowhat. There were 2 wetland series, the A series and the B series, and we are not proposing any work on the back part of this property at all. All of our work is proposed within this area here to the northeast. One of the first things that we looked at on the project, we knew that there was a stream that ran through the project, and it's been the subject of some questions from Rebecca in the Concom office during our permitting process with the Zoning Board of Appeals. And I'm going to go into that in a little bit of detail, but just to, if folks are not aware, this is a project that was submitted as a comprehensive permit application with the Zoning Board of Appeals. And we went through a very thorough review process with all the departments, including the Conservation Department. They definitely had input during the process with the Zoning Board of Appeals. We recently received an approved permit, so a comprehensive permit was issued by the Zoning Board of Appeals in February. And that appeal period is over now, and that permit has been recorded at the Registry of Deeds, allowing this project here. The Wetlands Protection Act and its regulations are part of a state permitting process, and so that's outside the realm of the comprehensive permit, which is why we're here with a separate permit. And although I would have loved to have come and submitted this plan with you folks at the same time that we submitted with the Zoning Board of Appeals, the 40B rules do not permit us to file ahead of time. We can only file with the Conservation Commission after we've completed the process with the Zoning Board of Appeals. So that's why you haven't seen this plan presented formally to you yet. This existing stream that flows through the property does not show on the current USGS map. When we ran stream stats on it, stream stats came back and told us that the watershed associated with said stream is 0.21 square miles, which is much less than the half a square mile threshold that would give it river status. So as we went through our process and review with the engineering department, Bill Reynolds' office, together with Tim Willis, identified some plans of record that included plans over by Route 128 that dated back to the 1950s, and some other plans of record that they believe seem to indicate that the watershed to this stream may in fact be larger than what the Stream Stats program explained to us. And so they shared that information with us, and they thought that it was going to be very close to that half a square mile threshold. And they asked us to evaluate the mapping and do our own watershed analysis. So we did it. We did that, and that mapping, and that included reviewing of mapping, field reconnaissance. We spent a few days in the field, a couple of folks from my office, including myself, to try to identify the tributary area to the stream, and we came up with a watershed boundary that extended further than what Stream Stats seemed to indicate. We ended up with a watershed area of 0.53 square miles. Now, in the Wetlands Protection Act, the section that talks about identifying a stream and whether or not it has river status as a perennial stream, it's very specific about what it asks you to do. It says that if it doesn't have a digitized line that Stream Stats can use to perform a Stream Stats analysis, then what you can do is you can analyze the watershed using available mapping to determine its watershed. And in order to confirm that it has river status or is considered a perennial stream, you have to have two things. You have to have more than a half a square mile, and you have to prove that within that watershed, at least 75% of the underlying soils contain stratified drift. And that stratified drift are considered sand and gravel deposits. And the Wetland Protection Act regulations, it explains how you go about determining that. You look at competent sources, such as the USGS surficial geology maps. And when we did that, and we overlaid it onto our watershed, less than 5% of the watershed that's tributary to the stream contains stratified drift. And so even though we didn't have to go through that exercise, we did. And no matter how we look at the stream, we keep coming up with the same answer, that it's intermittent. Then going back just a few years ago, the project right next door at 598 received an ORAD from this commission confirming that this wetland that's part of the same wetland system as our project borders on an intermittent stream. The same determination was made for the project at 600 North Avenue as well. So that's always, we always look at those things at the beginning of the project because they can have a significant impact on the way we approach a project. And so And so we believe we put that one to bed and answered all of the questions that have come up. So let me just dive in and explain to you the project here. The wetland has a.
Chris, let me interrupt for a second,
Oh,
sorry.
sure.
Do you have a map of the watershed area that you can share with us?
I don't have that with me tonight, Mr. Chairman, but I can certainly bring it to the next meeting to show you just how large it is and how far it extends. It extends all the way out to the golf course over in Stoneham.
Right, right. And I know it also goes into Reading.
That's correct.
Yeah, to both the north and the west. And, you know, far past the train tracks on the other side too. Yes. Yeah, we definitely would like to see that.
And we
yeah,
can
next
absolutely
meeting.
submit it formally for the record as well.
Please do.
Okay.
Bob, can I ask something?
Sure.
Could we get Bill's opinion on all this?
Yeah, I was looking to see if Bill's still here, and I don't see him. I don't see Tim either. Still in the meeting.
Okay, I think I would like to see his review of it to see
Yes.
if, I mean, they have to come to some agreement, right? So hopefully they are at this point.
Okay. Yeah, we're happy to share that information with Bill's office. Not a problem at all. He was the one who supplied us with the historical mapping. So
yeah,
we'll definitely share it with everyone.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. So before I jump into the site, the other interesting part of this project is that, as you may all be aware, Lake Quannapowitt was recently its status as a tributary to the Saugus River and Hawks Pond over in Saugus, which is part of the public surface water supply for the city of Lynn. The status of the tributary has changed, and it includes Lake Quannapowitt as a tributary. Those words mean something in terms of what type of wetland borders on said tributary. And there are also limitations on stormwater management, septic systems, that sort of thing. So there's a 200-foot buffer that extends from the bank of Lake Quannapowitt. If you look at the DEP map that shows us the limit of tributary to a surface water supply, commonly referred to as Zone A. During our initial review of the project, we recognized, of course, right away that this drainage network in the street discharges to Lake Quannapowitt, and the stream that's on our side of North Avenue, feeds that area. Bill Renault also pointed it out to us and suggested that maybe this stream that runs through our property is also a tributary to a public surface water supply. We recognized that as we were designing our project initially, and we chose BMPs that would be compatible with work near this type of resource area. And what I did to help out Bill is that we reached out to the folks at DEP, specifically Bruce Bauk, who is a hydrogeologist who is in the drinking water program, whose responsibility is to maintain the Zone A maps and investigate new ones, and maybe ones that they might show on a map that in fact may not be Zone A's. And so he goes out and investigates these things. And so we were able to set up a meeting. Bruce came out and walked the property together with Bill Renault and Rich Williams from our office. And they determined that, in fact, the stream that we've been talking about is also definitely a tributary to Lake Quannapowitt, and therefore, by extension, a tributary to the public water supply over in Linfield and Saugus.
Hey,
And
Chris,
so,
sorry to interrupt. Yeah, that is the primary inlet to Quannapowitt, that stream.
yep, it certainly is one of them. Yep, no question about it. And so in November, we received documentation from Bruce Bauk's office that he had in fact updated, officially and formally updated the maps that DEP has. It hasn't made it onto the mass mapper yet, but we do have an official email and a sketch plan from Bruce identifying this as a tributary. And so it's a good thing that we designed around it, but I just wanted to make you aware of that because it did come up during our public hearing process with the zoning board of appeals.
Thank you.
So the project involves some activity within the buffer zone to the BBW. The BBW is shown in a darker green line here. And the buffer zone extends onto our property. It's this lighter green color. So that's the 100-foot buffer zone. So as you can see, a portion of our building, a portion of the parking lot, and some of the sidewalks and amenities that we have that serve this building are within the buffer zone to the wetland. Along the perimeter of the project, almost around the entire project, this brown line represents a retaining wall that helps us pick up our site high enough to support our stormwater management system, to make sure that we maintain proper separation from the bottom of the stormwater management area to estimated seasonal high groundwater. The wall also acts as a nice physical and visual buffer between the project and the wetland. So the building is a 3-story building that supports 36 units. And within the site, we have a parking field that comes in off of North Ave, two-way traffic that comes in. It is a dead-end parking area here, but we support the 56 parking spaces that we show on this plan have been designed to support this building. We have sidewalks that are interior to the site. That's the lighter tan color here. If I zoom in a little bit here, you can see how we are constructing a sidewalk along our frontage where there is no sidewalk today along North Ave. And then this sidewalk peels off to the front entrance. It comes onto the site and wraps around the building where we have some outdoor amenity spaces for the residents. We also agreed to install a rapid flashing beacon at this location here that would allow folks to from this side of the street to cross North Ave safely onto the sidewalk and then off to the lake route on the other side of North Ave. The amenity spaces that are in the buffer zone include a fire pit area, a grilling station. This is an enclosed covered bike storage area here where folks can lock up their bikes. And we have a dumpster pad area here. And we also have some snow storage proposed that also falls within the buffer zone. They're laid out on our layout plan. We don't have a lot of places for snow storage on the property, just in some of the landscaped areas and this large triangular shaped area near the entrance here. So, if it snows pretty heavy, we get a couple of storms in a row, we're looking at taking snow off the site. And that was a topic of discussion when we were in front of the ZBA as well. We have fencing along the perimeter as well. And that fencing is for safety and also will do a good job at protecting windblown litter from ending up in the wetland down below. And we also have designed a lighting plan. Having reviewed the other projects during the early stages of this, we tried not to recreate the wheel. We took a look at the orders of condition for 598 and 600 to see the kinds of things that were the special conditions, things that might be important to the commission. We know that lighting and overspill is something that you folks are concerned about. When we design our lighting plans, in this case, we have 9 light poles that are spread out throughout the site. We limit that the degree Kelvin to 3000, which allows us to keep that light color within that warm white range of color with the LED lights. Once you get close to the 4000 and 5000 degree Kelvin, you get that blue light that's not pleasing to the eye, and if it's not pleasing to us, it's also not pleasing to little critters and that sort of thing. So we did think about that as we designed that. I would say the most important aspect of the project that we designed is the stormwater management system, and it's fairly simple. We're collecting stormwater runoff in the parking field in a couple of catch basins and a trench drain out along North Ave. And any rainwater that touches the pavement will go through either the trench drain or the 2 catch basins and then run through one of 2 pre-treatment devices. These are proprietary treatment devices that we've designed to make sure that we get more than 44% TSS removal before ultimate discharge to our main BMP. And most of these guys, the treatment chambers and the stormwater management area, which is located here, all these elements are outside the buffer zone to the wetland. But this is an infiltration.
Hey, Chris, sorry
Yes.
to stop you there, but those preliminary pretreatment devices, what specifically are you recommending there? Are they swirl type chambers or what are they?
Sure, they're specifically the brand name, it's by Contech, it's a CDS. The model number is 1515-3-C. There are two of them, so just downstream of these two structures, it's right here. It very much looks like a catch basin, but there's a pre-treatment element in it, and we're able to get 85% TSS removal here and also here. We ran it over here as well in order to, we have some runoff heading out to this drain, trench drain here. And so with these two CDS devices, we're able to get 85% TSS removal before we even get to our primary BMP, which is the subsurface infiltration area. And the method that we're using to do our infiltration here is they're 21-inch aluminized steel pipes that are all interwelded together, another Contech product. And so the parking lot drainage, after it's treated, enters this interconnected area. This is covered on the top, and they're perforated, of course. Top and bottom is covered with double wash stone and filter fabric. And then we're taking our entire roof area. There's a roof drain that runs along the perimeter of the roof, and we're tying that directly into this area where our roof runoff on this project is considered clean.
What type of storm event is that designed for?
Sure. So this stormwater management area is designed for the 100-year storm event.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what type of separation do you have between the seasonal high water and the bottom of that structure?
So we have more than 2 feet of separation. Our stormwater report contains a mounding analysis that shows that the mound that's generated under the system doesn't impact or come into that area of influence. So that's all summarized in the stormwater report.
Okay.
We also did a couple of test holes here to confirm the texture of the soil and depth to estimated seasonal high groundwater. These were witnessed also by the town engineer, Bill Renault.
Chris, do you have the width of the stream shown anywhere on these drawings? The width top of bank and all that stuff?
Are you asking about the width of the parking area?
No, I'm talking about the stream on the other side of the property. I see you've got a wetland line there, but is there a width to the stream? Is there a bank? What's the character of the stream?
Sure. So let me go to this plan here. So this is the thread. This will be the thread of the stream, and we did locate a bank, but it all lies within the wetland area, and so we didn't show it on the plan. It's all inside the wetland line.
Okay.
So in other words, the wetland is there's no bank outside the wetland line.
Right.
Yep.
But is there a width to the channel that is the stream? Do you have?
So there is. It's very much underwater during certain times of the year. This is a very big wetland area. Let me do this. I'm going to stop sharing just for a second. I have another screen that I can show you that does a good job of showing that, so you can get a feel for it. It won't take very long here. Let me just share my screen again. So can everybody see this screen?
Yes.
Yep. So this is in my my CAD program, if you will, and so for some people it's unusual to see all these things in different colors, but you can see that the building here is in this this green color that I'm highlighting here.
Yeah.
And the parking field is is in here, and this is an accurate, current, aerial overlay. You can see the stream, how it comes out of that pipe underneath the MBTA tracks and comes through the property, and you can see the thread. So Jim, there definitely is a width to that, but you can't really get out here.
Yeah,
that
I
we
was more
definitely-
interested, I was more interested in the area between the two buildings.
I see. Yeah, so we do have some bank flags on our side, but we didn't bother getting the other side. I know that the plan for 598, which I think I have a copy of, does show it on that side. But we didn't bother showing it on the plan because the wetland is uphill a bit.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, let me just, I'll finish up quickly here, just to go back to the just to the plan here. So the other item that that Rebecca really had a lot of questions and comments on, and had to do with just how close we're proposing this project to the wetland edge. So we recognize that the commission has a policy, the tree removal policy, and then the 25-foot policy. We asked for waivers from both of those local requirements when we applied for our comprehensive permit. Those waivers were granted by the zoning board of appeals, in their capacity as the approving authority for the comp permit. But we do have some areas where we're less than 25. We try to do our best. Out in this area here, we do a good job of staying more than 25, but once we start coming around here, we do get as close as 15 feet. And we sort of chose that as our limit based on the previous approval for the 598 project right next door here. They had some areas as well, similar to us, where the commission was willing to allow activity as close as 15. And so as we come through this area here, there are areas that are as close as 15. Our discharge from the stormwater management area is via this pipe and this level spreader here. So here we're more than 25 feet. I think it's almost 40 feet from the wetland edge here, but we are closer than 25. And one of the things that we've been talking about, and it came up during the zoning board of appeals hearings, is we have a landscape plan that's proposed that was approved with our ZBA application that I didn't submit with our notice of intent, but I would like to. That plan actually proposes some tree plantings between where we're considering our limit of work on this plan and the wetland. And so I'll submit it so that we can talk about it at our next hearing, Mr. Chairman. But we'd like to propose 11 trees. It's a combination of red maples and green gable tupula, and these are not small trees. They were 3 to 3.5 inch caliper to sort of beef up some screening and provide some more shade in this area here with the permission of the Conservation Commission. This site in general is overgrown with a lot of knotweed. It's really difficult, depending on what time of the year it is, to walk from North Ave through this property. It's almost impossible. It's so thick in there. Wetland value wise, this is really a pretty simple wetland. It's a toe slope wetland. You can't miss where it is. This property is a little junky. I'll describe it as, it's really overgrown with a lot of invasives. So that's the end of my formal presentation for tonight, Mr. Chairman and members, and we're here to answer questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, and I do want to thank Rebecca. I know she was involved quite a bit with comments and suggestions throughout your process with the ZBA. So a couple of questions. Do you have a landscape plan showing the location of those trees that you just mentioned?
So I do have it with me. This will be the first time that you're seeing it. Is it okay to share it?
Yes, please.
Okay. I don't know if that popped up. Did you?
Did.
It did. Okay. So looking at this plan, there's a total of 6 green gable tupula, which is a tree that kind of it's a deciduous tree that grows cone shape. It also has really nice bright red colors in the fall. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then there are 5 red maples here,
Okay.
and then a couple more of the tupelo. And then for a screening around the fire pit area, these are green giant arborvitae, just 4 of them here to provide some privacy. And all of these are native species. So that's what we were thinking.
What's the elevation difference between the wetland and your parking lot?
Sure, that's a good question. Let's just zoom in here and take a look. So wetland flag elevations down here are roughly elevation 83 to 84, right in that range.
Yeah.
And then up on top, if you will, we are as high. It's a little bit of a sloping thing here, 89, 88. So about 6 feet or so.
So the closest point to the wetland is approximately 15 feet, but your actual limit of work line is going to be somewhat closer than that.
Are you talking about the silt fence line or the trees that we'd like
Yeah,
to
so
plant?
okay, so fence is identified. I see it. Yeah, okay.
So that's where I'm measuring my my setbacks to.
Okay.
This is the real pinch point. This is the wetland does a little bit of something weird here, and this was
You're
one
not
area.
even showing them on the plan what that distance is, right?
We do not show it on this plan, but we can.
Yeah, at least at the closest point, please.
Okay.
What was that circular structure up by the upper left-hand side?
A fire pit.
That's correct.
Yeah, could you put the 25-foot buffer zone on the plan as well?
Yes.
Yeah, I would say throughout. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And does this mean there is no ANRADs? So we have to, that's something that we would have to evaluate, right? We would have to.
Yes, we've asked the commission as part of the notice of intent to confirm the wetland line as shown on the plan.
So we would need to do that as just kind of an initial matter.
Yeah, normally we would come in with an ANRAD, but this one, it always works out this way, right? This one, this one's so straightforward. Greg Hockmuth from our office flagged this wetland. It's a toe slope wetland. I said, Greg, what do you think? Should we go in for an ANRAD? The stream doesn't even show on USGS map, and the wetland's pretty straightforward. He's like, yeah, I wouldn't bother on this one. And wouldn't you know it, this is like ended up being a really controversial thing with the stream and everything like that. So we probably should have come in.
And has Elaine or Rebecca gone out to confirm the wetland mapping?
No, we haven't been out yet.
Hasn't Elaine been
That's
out?
sort of
I thought Elaine went out.
Well,
I think she went out on the other project, didn't she?
Oh, the
yeah,
other-
actually, a number of us went out on the other project, but we did walk part of this property
Yeah,
at
we
the
tried
same
to do
time,
it.
but it was very difficult.
Was it
getting
flagged?
through.
But was it flagged?
It was flagged for
Was
the
it flagged
other.
though, Bob?
Yeah, one side was definitely flagged.
Yeah, so what we've done, Mr. Chairman, is it's been a while since the flags were up, so I had one of our field crews come out and refresh the flags along here.
When was the original flagging done? Do you know?
Yes, we have that in the notice of intent. Let me just take a quick peek here. So.
And I do recall the knotweed was very difficult to get through. We had a hard time finding a path.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to get back
property.
to you on the flagging. This is where we discussed the flagging here, and then the inland bank flag. So I don't have that here in the application, so I'll find out for you. But we definitely updated the flags. In other words, refreshed them, if you will, based on our survey locations, probably a week or so ago.
This came before us when with the prior plan, right? Of if you were going to build single family houses and getting a zoning change, right?
Yes, I know Mr. Lopez is on the line. Dana, would you like to explain what that previous project was?
But that's the site visit we took, I think,
Yeah.
with
We,
that,
we parked in the KSC lot and
Right.
walked into this site from the KSC.
right?
Yeah, it was a much smaller project. It involved a rezoning, if I remember
Right,
correctly.
which was not successful, right?
That's right, unfortunately, right.
Yeah, we were originally going for 6 townhouses. Getting the residents, changed to general residence from single family. And it got denied in the public vote. So rather than, we just didn't think it was a appropriate place to build a single family home with the wetlands behind, the 2 buildings aside of it, and the Knights of Columbus. It just didn't make any sense. The property had basically no value at that point for a single family. So this was the route we chose to go. And that's how we got to this point on that.
Mr. Chairman, for the record, that was Dana Lopez, property owner.
All right, thank you. Any further questions from the commission tonight regarding this? Obviously, we don't, there are some things we do want to talk to engineering about and, about the stream in particular and the watershed.
So can I just confirm, so you made the choice not to have a buffer zone of 25 feet, because you could have just moved the whole thing over. Again, I'm just confirming that.
Yeah, so I'll be very honest with you. If we did honor the 25-foot, then we couldn't have built, we couldn't have supported the parking that we would need to support the building, which means the building would have to get smaller, the porch will have to get smaller. Yes.
Okay, thank you for your honesty. I appreciate that.
Any other questions from the commission tonight regarding this?
Would we want to go out soon to take a look before everything gets too crazy overgrown?
Yeah, I know. So Jim.
It's still tough to look
myself,
at, right? I mean,
Yeah, a
Get
few of
word
us have
out.
already done this when it was
Yeah.
previously presented to us. As I mentioned, we parked at the KSC, walked in through there, and there was a lot of knotweed. It was
Yeah.
tough getting through even to the stream. But sure, anybody who hasn't been out, certainly welcome to do so.
Yeah, we have a pretty good feel for the site, so we're happy to guide everyone around.
Yeah. I wouldn't be opposed to taking a look at it because that last time we didn't really get very
you
far.
couldn't see anything. Is
Yeah.
there a place to walk, Chris?
Well, right now, we should plan on going out soon.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'll be around this weekend at this point, but would this Saturday work for those who want to go out?
Mhm.
I
wanna go,
cannot do
Peter?
in the morning. I can only do in the afternoon on Saturday, unfortunately.
And Sunday's gonna rain.
I'm not around this weekend, but by all means, go without me.
Well,
Jim or Ken, Saturday
I wouldn't be
afternoon?
around. I wouldn't be around until 11:30, 12.
So Teresa couldn't do the morning either, so afternoon would work for her.
Saturday afternoon.
Yeah, but not until about 2 or 3,
Okay, well,
more like 3, but I don't know if would that work for you, Ken?
that works for me. I can do that.
I will double check, but I think it works.
I think I can do that as well.
So should we say 3? Is that, Chris, is that acceptable to you?
We'll make it work.
And we could meet the Knights of Columbus. We
Yeah.
won't tell the Knights of Columbus we're walking there, of course, but.
You might get recruited. They do need members. Does anybody want to see anything marked or flagged? I'm not sure what
I don't.
is out there now besides the wetland flags. Is there anything else staked off or marked?
Other than the wetland flags and our survey network of points, that's about it. We can. I'm hesitating because I'm afraid my field crew chief might quit if I ask him to stake out anything right now. But we're more than happy to do it if.
You said there's survey points out there. There's stakes for some survey stuff. Is there a chance we can get that on the plan so we'll be able to orient ourselves according to those stakes?
Yes, I'm planning on that.
Thank you.
All right, that will definitely help. All right, so those who can make it Saturday at 3 p.m., this Saturday at 3 p.m.
Yep, I can do it.
All right, anything else from the
Okay.
commission?
Saturday, the 22nd, 3 o'clock at the KSC lot. Okay.
Correct. Rebecca, can you send an invite, please? For
I already
Saturday,
did.
3 o'clock?
You
I
probably
did.
already sent it.
I did send it already.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions from the commission?
No, Chris, very good presentation.
All right,
And again,
thank you, Jim.
And thank you, Rebecca, for all your preliminary comments and work to get to where this is now. Any questions or comments from the public? Okay, hearing none, we're going to be moving on. We are 30 minutes behind at this point. Chris, thank you very much. Dana,
right.
thank you very much. And we'll see those of you on Saturday. Rebecca, you okay to move on?
Yes.
Okay. All right, next up is 1 Harrison Ave. We do not have a file number. Public hearing notice of intent for the removal of a deck and shed and the construction of an addition within the riverfront area. Is the applicant here?
Hi, everyone. I'm Zoe Kroner with Goddard Consulting. I'll be representing the applicant, Rochelle Hall.
Hi, Zoe.
Bob, there is a number on it.
Oh, there is. Okay, I must have an old agenda.
I think I have it right here. It's 313-0623.
Okay. I stand corrected.
All right, so I can do a little presentation regarding the notice of intent for 1 Harrison Lane. May I share my screen?
Sure, please do.
Thank you. All right, so just gonna go over the existing conditions in the resource areas on site. Then I'll go over the proposed work, and then I'll briefly go over the redevelopment and riverfront area performance standards. So just starting out looking at the locus site on an ortho photo, we have the single family house, driveway, walkway, deck, shed, pool with associated patio, fence, and lawn space. Now seeing that on the existing conditions plan, the front portion of the property is mostly lawn space with a walkway, house in the center rear here, with the deck and the shed on the south side, and then the pool with the associated patio in the back. And then across the street of Harrison Lane is the perennial stream, which casts a 200-foot riverfront area onto the entirety of the site. Now looking at the proposed site plan, the applicant proposes to remove the existing deck and shed located south of the house and replace it with an addition. The location of the addition and porch was designed to utilize the existing degraded area. There is also a proposed porch located on the east side of the house here. There is a tree located in front of the house where the existing shed is, right where my mouse is, that is also proposed to be removed during construction. And I also want to note that there is a dry well proposed as a form of mitigation in the front lawn, which is not shown in the plan, but it will be added and submitted to the commission. And I'm just going to go ahead and show a picture of the deck and the shed that I'm referring to right here. So that's what's proposed to be removed and replaced with an addition. And then the east side of the house here, utilizing the stairway and a little bit of exposed soil for a porch. All right. Now I'm just going to briefly just go over some of the performance standards. So the existing degraded area on site is already exceeding the 10% of degraded area and riverfront. The project does increase the degraded by a small amount. So although stormwater is not required for single family houses under the Wetlands Protection Act, we believe that the dry well is a great way to manage the stormwater from the degraded surfaces on site and overall improve the existing conditions. For performance standards C through D, proposed work is not located closer to the river. For E, since the lot is entirely within riverfront and the existing degraded area on site exceeds 10%, the project does require restoration or mitigation. And so to meet this standard, the mitigation has been proposed in the form of a dry well to capture the stormwater runoff. The mitigation is proposed as an equivalent level of environmental protection where square footage is not a relevant measure. So I just want to touch on some of those things, and that wraps up my presentation, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Hey, Zoe, a couple questions. So the dry well, what exactly will that be handling as far as runoff?
So that will be handling, I believe I can double check with the exact design and how much water, because I know the size of the dry well depends on the amount of water coming off the impervious surface. So I think that would involve a calculation that might be required with but it would be just the runoff from the addition.
Oh, okay. All right. That was my question, whether the whole roof or just the addition. Okay. So the addition, not including the porch, just the addition, or both?
So it would be the addition, which would be, it's just one addition on the side here that would replace the deck and the shed.
Okay. And is that addition going to be on a full foundation or frost wall or piers or what?
Second.
No, full basement or just, frost wall or?
Just one moment. I can confirm that. I'm actually not entirely sure.
And can I ask you, have you gotten zoning relief for this?
I'm sorry, what was that?
Has the ZBA approved this plan? Excuse me, do you need zoning relief?
I
would
setback. Need to confirm that. I would need to double check that.
I think you do, and I also think it probably is a non-conforming lot even, but.
Oh, I'm sorry. Actually, the lawyer is in progress of doing that right now.
So this is not, you don't know whether or not you'll get ZBA approval for this. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like it's less than 6 feet from the property line on the side.
Yeah, I don't know what the minimum lot area is for this area.
There's a table on one of the figures up in the corner, the zoning table.
Oh, there is? Okay, so.
Usually it's 15 feet.
Yep, there it is.
Okay, yeah, required 15, existing 9, 8, proposed 5, 9. So yes, to answer your question, Teresa, they would require that.
Yeah, it's a non-conforming lot also.
You're almost done. Click the download button to continue.
Oh, yeah. So I believe we're aiming to get the ZBA approval at the same time as the Conservation Commission approval.
And Zoe, did you say if that's going to have a full basement or just like a frost wall?
I don't have that answer right now, but I can
Okay.
confirm that and get back to you.
Does that house currently have a basement, full basement?
Trying to see. I'm not sure, but I can confirm. And I believe the applicant is present.
Yes, hi,
Hi.
Zoe. This is Rochelle.
Hi,
I'm
Rochelle.
trying to put my daughter to bed at the same time as half listening.
Oh.
But yes, so to confirm, yes, the house has a basement, a full basement.
Okay.
The new addition being proposed will have a crawl space. So
Okay.
it will not have a full basement.
Okay, thank you. Do you have a sump pump right now in your full basement?
We have an injector, and yes, we do. I believe we do have a sump pump. I'll have to confirm that with my husband, but I know we have an ejector.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, I know that area, tends to be a little low and there is a lot of water, in that area.
well, we are up on a hill. I don't know if
Yeah,
the grading. I think there was some grading added to one of the plans.
okay.
Our basement has never flooded. The reason we have an injector is because there is a half bath in the basement. And I
Oh,
guess-
you gotta pump up to the
Yeah,
main line. Yeah,
exactly.
sanitary line. Yeah, makes sense. Okay, thank you. Zoe,
Bob-
would there be proposed downspouts coming off the addition and or porch?
I was gonna say, Bob, that's a covered porch, so you could probably put the runoff for that dry well into that as well.
Right.
Yeah, the dry well discussion has just sort of started within the last few weeks, so we're sort of learning about that as well. And we're happy to sort of commit to any mitigation features. But I don't really quite understand what the size of it that we'll need, or where exactly it will go, given the size of the covered porch and the location of the addition. So, but I think we definitely have room for it in the front. And you are correct also in the fact that we have filed with the ZBA. And I think we're going to be on the agenda maybe the next meeting. So hopefully we'll learn more from them. It's my understanding we won't need a full variance, or hopefully not. But we'll see. We're going to hopefully have a finding for the setback.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, you'd want to get that water away from the house and into a dry well, just to
Okay.
keep it away from your foundation.
Understood. I understand that there's like different sizes though. There's 50
Yeah.
gallons that goes all the way up to like 500 gallons.
Right, right. It can be sized based on the amount of area of the roof that you're trying to store, in what type of storm event you're trying to store the water. But yeah, the important thing is to get it away from your away from the foundation.
Sure.
Any other questions from the commission? Jim, did you have any more questions concerning?
I'm all set, thank you.
Okay. All right, so there was some information that we are looking for or waiting for. So we do want to find out, I guess, what happens, obviously, with the ZBA, right? Because we don't know if the project's actually going to go through or not. When is the next time? You'd be with the ZBA. I'm not sure when the next meeting is.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't have that information just yet. I know our attorney has filed, and he was going to get back to us when it's scheduled.
Okay. Any other concerns or questions from the commission?
No.
No. Okay.
Are you
Rebecca, I'm
sorry.
sorry.
Are
Do you
you
have
guys
anything?
planning on a site visit?
We should. On Saturday would be good. I mean, I drive by there all the time, actually. I could just kind of peek on my way by, but does anybody want to go there Saturday after?
Yeah, it would have to be afterward.
Yeah. Maybe 4 o'clock on Saturday? Would that work for you, Teresa?
Yes.
All right, Ken, Paul, I think you guys both said you could do the 3 o'clock, so I don't know if the 4 would also work.
Yeah, worst case, I live down the street. I can take a look.
Yeah.
I can try to make that, yeah.
All right, Jim, 4 o'clock?
You do it right afterwards, yeah.
Yeah.
Jim, is that okay for you?
Yeah, that's okay.
All right, so those who can make it.
Wait, and Zoe and I'm sorry, Rochelle, is that okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so we'll see some members of the commission on Saturday afternoon around 4 o'clock. We do have 3 o'clock, so, give or take a few minutes, depending on how we finish off the other site walk.
And will there be stakes to show the outline of where the addition, or can we just figure it out from where?
We can figure it out. It's not
Okay.
very big.
Yeah, you can see where the fence line is
Yes.
and where the existing, based on the.
Yeah, I
pictures.
mean, right, as soon as you pull up and you look at the front of the house to the right, you'll see the shed. It won't even cover the whole shed, so what you'll see is, the current exterior line of the house is really only moving 2 feet to the right. So when you're looking at it from the front, it's really only moving 2 feet to the right. If I'm here, I think we will be here around that time. You're happy to come in the back if you want to take a look. And so I'll keep an eye out for you guys if around 4 o'clock and we can pop out and say hello, and you can certainly come in the back yard if you would like to.
Excellent. Thank you, Michelle.
Sure.
Any other questions from the commission? Any questions from the public? All right. Thank you, Zoe and Rochelle, for your time tonight, and you'll be seeing some of the members on Saturday afternoon.
Thank you, guys.
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you. All right, Rebecca, we have a few open items here for other business. Any particular sequence? We get Woburn to Wakefield line project request for certificate of compliance.
Yeah, I think is Dave Clinch here?
Yes.
Oh, there we go. Yep, just to give an update. Perfect.
Yeah, that'd be great. Thanks very much. So for the record, I'm Dave Clinch from Epsilon Associates. I'm the environmental scientist for National Grid's Woburn and Wakefield project. Appreciate you processing the certificate of compliance request. I'm happy to answer any questions, but I really just wanted to give you a quick status update. I received the letter that Rebecca prepared dated March 28th with a review of that certificate, as well as the town engineer's review of the request. There are a number of requests within that letter. It's well prepared. We have no problems with that at all. So I'm working with National Grid and their contractor United Civil to address a few things, including placing some loam and hydro seed in select areas to ensure they get some growth where there's currently gravel, because I do ultimately agree that that would help stabilize some of those areas along the MBTA right-of-way between Salem Street and New Salem. Some of the elements of the paved surface of that trail or that access road are cracked or depressed. That's associated with vehicular traffic that was on it, supporting construction and movement of construction mats. So that's also being repaired. That work will likely be done in the next week or two. I'll keep Rebecca up to date on the progress of that and look forward to seeing you certainly at the next hearing or whenever that work is completed. If anybody would like to take a look at it, you're certainly welcome to. I'd be happy to meet you there anytime. Since this was permitted, I've been on this project for 9 years. Since it was permitted, effectively almost the entire commission has turned over. So
not all of it.
Not all of it, agreed. I don't want to belabor this at all. I know there are other applicants here as well, but I certainly wanted to give you the opportunity, should there be questions or things you might want to discuss, either now or at the next hearing.
Thank you. Rebecca, do you have any comments or anything concerning this?
Well, I've spoken to Dave. We've talked about the comments, and I think basically he's addressing those. So when he provides the updated information and or pictures, but I think we'll probably be all set. But I would say, why don't you guys go check it out? You could do that after your site visit on Saturday.
Yeah.
All day commission.
We'll have someone will bring a bottle of wine to have it. It'll be coming up
Any
to
more, and you're gonna have to bring a flashlight.
wine time, right, exactly, right.
Yeah. I would say just go take a peek. I think it looks great. It's kind of an exciting thing.
Well, not exactly great, because you requested some changes, Rebecca.
That's okay, fair enough.
Very good.
Almost. It looks
Call
great,
it very
almost
good.
perfect.
Where exactly is this now? that we're talking?
It's the new
David,
bike.
David, where are you talking? Where exactly?
It runs
Yeah.
from,
The eastern
Right.
end ends at Salem Street. It's formerly an MBTA railroad right away. Well, it is still actually an MBTA railroad right away, but it goes from Salem Street to is it New Salem, the intersection of New Salem. So it's only about half. It's not even a half mile long.
Hey, Jim, we were looking at Harrison Lane. It starts right across the street from Harrison Lane.
Yeah, we walked.
Runs all the way down to Santander Bank.
Okay.
Right.
Oh,
And then
okay.
it ends at the junior high.
Yeah,
right?
we
Yeah.
walked it the other direction
Right.
2 years ago.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
I would note that, you know, the agreement that National Grid has with the MBTA does force it to remain signed. While certainly I don't think there's any concern at all about its use, it's signed as, you know, private property. I understand the town is working with the MBTA independently to obtain some sort of right of access so that it could fundamentally be used as a bike path. Hopefully it's in good condition for that and it doesn't take too long so that any additional improvements that need to be made can be made. But you know, it's been a long time coming. The other end of the project ends in Woburn near Horn Pond, and that work is still ongoing and it will through the remainder of this year, and then we'll be done with that project. It's undoubtedly the longest project in my 31-year career. So,
Wow.
but thank you all.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Next, I see DEP 313-618-66 Butler Ave, request for certificate of compliance. Is the applicant here for Butler Ave?
Yes. Joseph Florianello from Heritage Builders.
Hey, good evening.
Good evening.
Oh,
I had I think it was Elaine that came out on Friday, did a walk through. And I don't know if she's at the meeting here.
I talked to Elaine, she wrote it up, she said everything looked great. She said the trees were planted as they were supposed to be, the fence has been installed as it was supposed to be. I think the only outstanding issue was to loam and seed, was it the front and side yard maybe? Of which you were gonna do very soon and give us some pictures?
Yes, I sent them to her this afternoon.
Oh, okay, I don't have them yet, but so Elaine, they're probably in Elaine's mailbox, so I think
Yeah.
we're probably all set.
Yep, and other than that, yes, we should be all set.
Mhm.
So can I move to issue the certificate of compliance contingent on getting those, Elaine confirming that those pictures, Rebecca?
Sure. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, all in favor? Actually, any discussion? All in favor? Haley,
Yes.
Jimmy,
Yes.
Ken,
Yes.
Paul,
yes,
Peter,
Yes.
Teresa,
Yes.
and I also vote yes. All right,
Thank you.
thank you. Good night. All right, next up, we've got DEP 313-585, 610 Salem Street, request to extend the order of conditions. And is the applicant here?
It's Peter Rogan from Hayes Engineering. I represent the applicant.
Hi, Peter.
Good evening to you all. Haven't seen you in a while. We've requested an extension of the order of conditions for the apartment project that's actually across the street from my office. The reason for the extension is while we did get a start on the project, it had a couple of setbacks in terms of getting started through COVID and supplies as far as footing type, or actually I should say foundation type. It had to be a deep foundation due to the soil conditions. But we're underway now. It turned out that ram earth piles were the best foundation solution. They were all in. The footings are poured and the walls are going up. So, but there's no way we can complete the project in the amount of time left. There's only a few months left on the order. So we're requesting an extension of the order of conditions.
And do you need the full 3 years, Peter?
I don't know that we're going to need the full 3 years, but I believe we asked for 3 years just to kind of guard against other setbacks. But if you want to do it for 1 year and then, I mean, it would be either 1 or 3 years, I believe. If you want to do it for 1 year and then have us come back if we're not quite complete, that would be okay. It's wood frame construction from here on out, so it's going to go faster than what's gone in the past, but
I'm not opposed to giving 3 years. It sounds reasonable to me.
Okay. Would somebody like to make a motion for that?
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Any discussion? Okay, all in favor? Haley,
Yes.
Jimmy,
Yes.
Ken,
Yes.
Paul,
Yes.
Peter,
Yes.
Teresa,
Yes.
and I also vote yes. All right, Peter, 3 years.
thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Peter.
Good to see you all.
Same here.
We're
See
here.
you. Good to see you, Peter.
Yep. Good night now.
Good night.
You're still sailing, Peter?
I am. Tomorrow night is the skippers meeting, and then the first Wednesday nights, I think in another week or two, I forget which.
Yeah.
We'll be racing the Fagawi too.
You must be a pro by now.
You're never a pro at that game, I can tell you that. All right.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll see you.
Yeah.
All right, I think we have one more item on the agenda. 129 Oak Street enforcement order. Rebecca, you want to fill us in?
Sure. We got an email from DEP asking us to go take a look at something. On one of their mappings, it said that there were wetlands that had been, they call it human altered on their DEP wetland change map. So we took a peek at it and there was some old filings on it. I think I submitted it all to you guys in that package. So there's a wetland change map and it says human altered wooded swamp deciduous. And then some pictures, and I copied an old previous plan that showed where some of the resource areas were. So basically, we were asked by DEP to check this out. I believe they received some type of complaint that I don't know. I'm not privy to that information. So when we got it and we had to follow up with them, we looked at it and issued this enforcement order. I think the homeowners might be here. Yeah. Okay. All right. So thank you for coming. So we just need to, I think the enforcement order just required them to come here to have a chat with us to see what's happening. Let me just double check with them. Oh, okay. So basically we said that a restoration plan, it will be determined tonight. So we'll just figure out what we're going to do from this point forward with the homeowners who are now here.
Rebecca, have you been out to the property?
I have not been out to the property in a number of years. I went.
This is kind of kitty corner across from Holland Ave. I think we're out there 2 or 3 years ago, maybe.
What's the location?
It's like kitty corner from Holland Ave and Oak Street.
Yeah, you can see all the, it goes way back, the improvement.
I remember there was some crushed rock or something in a parking area or something when we went out there a while ago. Melrose Ave is kind of behind. Yeah, there it is. Oak Street, Melrose Ave. Okay.
Wait a
All right,
minute.
so the homeowners are with us.
Yeah.
Do you want
Oh,
to
this-
go ahead?
Wait a minute. This here we've that red outline seems familiar. Wasn't that supposed to be a replication area or something?
We walked that, like I said, I think it was a couple of years ago and maybe had a discussion with the homeowner about it. I don't recall exactly. But anyways, the homeowner they're here. And they can kind of fill us in.
Yep, my name is Richard Nelson. It's my wife Christine.
Hey, good evening.
So my parents have bought this house in 1978. So I've lived here basically my whole life. So to recap, so we bought this house from my dad in 2018. So we've been here and we received a letter, enforcement order violation from the Wetlands Protection Act. And it states, that after reviewing previously approved plans as well as consulting online mapping tools, it has been determined that the work/activities have occurred within the commission's jurisdiction without prior approval. And then it also says, please see the attachment for a copy of the plan that was submitted to the commission in 1993 by Richard and Sally Nelson, who was my parents, for work at 120 on Oak Street. Some work has been done. No other work at 120 on Oak Street has been permitted through the commission since that time. A comparison between the last approved plan and the existing conditions would indicate that work has been completed within the regulated areas without any review or approval by the commission. So just as a backstory, so like, again, I've only been here about 4 years, but when my parents bought the house, there was a stream going parallel to the garage, to the left of the garage, basically. And the garage sunk over 3 feet down, and it was a big issue. So my father went to the town, told them his case. And I believe it was Roger Maloney, I think is one of the names. My father passed about a year ago, so unfortunately I can't ask him questions. But my mother gave me a little backstory. So the garage was sinking. So he went to the town. They were very helpful. They came in, and what they supposedly did is they capped the pipe that went, kind of fed that stream. They capped it at the street, and then they rerouted it over to almost where like there's a street sign, 25-mile-an-hour street sign, and they basically kind of dumped it in that marshy area in there. And there's also a stream going kind of across all the backyards, essentially, that was piped in years and years ago. And then there's open water that goes towards Melrose Ave, basically. And the town filled in, like I said, capped it at the street. They put all crushed stone all the way to the very, very, very back of the yard. There's like big a rock wall that's been there probably, 100 years or so, who knows? But they put all crushed stone in there. And they said that they were going to come and dredge it every, X amount of years. And they wanted to kind of keep that open for access to kind of get in there to kind of keep it clean and even, flowing and everything. So they, like I said, they put all the crushed stone in there. Since then, we've never had any issues and stuff. So let me see what I got here. So like I said, I've only been here about 4 years. So a lot of the work was previously done, and there was an addition that was put in the back. So Conservation Committee has been here, and it also lists something about a shed. And the only thing I could say is we did move from Greenwood. Here I bought, like I said, my childhood home for my dad. And, we live in a very busy street. It's like literally like a raceway, and my kids don't have any room to play and stuff like that. So we did put a play set in the backyard, which we didn't really know that it had to be approved. I guess we didn't realize, because all the backyards, all the 6 houses abutting my house all have the same footprint, essentially, because they go 100 feet back, and all the houses across all have sheds and this and that. And like I said, my whole life I've lived here, and it's always been, my backyard. So I didn't know that I was essentially doing anything wrong as far as moving the playset in. But I guess that's all I have to say for now. But
Who, Ken, was it you that had the drawing, the aerial view up before?
I can put it back up.
Yeah, please.
I have the Google street image too, if you want to look at it.
Yeah, that's the one. So Rebecca, the message from DEP, where exactly is it referring to? The red crosshatched area?
Yes.
So
I didn't realize this was gonna be a Zoom meeting. I have multiple pictures from years and years ago before the addition was done, showing that it's always been an open area all the way through there.
So
Like,
is
if
that
you
where
look
the
back to the
town,
town? What's that?
did the town, did the town put the crushed stone
That's
in?
from the, correct,
Okay,
correct,
in that red hatched area.
correct. Yep, there's always been access all the way back there, so they would have access if they ever had to dredge that out. Supposedly, that's what that's the reason why they did it.
Rebecca, is DEP thinking that it's recently altered or?
They didn't say one way or the other. I do have the plan from the town, and the crushed stone was only supposed to go kind of on that corner. So if you look where the word oak is right now and follow the K to where it meets the red,
Yeah.
sort of that little triangle right there, that's where the crushed stone was supposed to go.
So that was crushed stone.
Yeah.
And what happens is we're kind of in a valley, basically. So all the water that comes across street literally comes across there. And that is basically, so like kind of where I would say where like the S is on street, there's a pipe that got rerouted from the street that used to go next to the garage. It got
Yes.
rerouted in there. And
Okay.
there's all crushed stone and all the water. Exactly. So kind of in the middle of, so see where the bigger tree is there? Down to the left is where the pipe kind of comes through, and all that stone was getting washed in, and that pipe does not protrude out very much. So what was happening is it kept washing and washing and washing down, and I had to keep going in there with my big, hip boots in the storms, shoveling it out. We did have the driveway resurfaced, and the guy was here and saw it clearly happening. It was like Grand Canyon kind of going down. And he said, if you want, I can put a little top coat on there. So we did extend it a tiny bit just so the stuff wouldn't go in there, because basically it would block all the water from coming out. So like I said, we're not trying to do anything, wrong here. It's just, it was an ongoing issue.
Did you get the driveway top coated recently?
No, it was done years back.
Oh, okay. I was just wondering if that was the change that triggered.
But that access has always been back there. There's always been access to the left of the garage.
So you paved over the existing stone gravel area?
Just a tiny bit, correct.
Yeah.
Just I would say, I don't know,
Car length, maybe?
car length or so.
Do you have any pictures of before the pavement and after? Well, we have the after now, but I mean, the before?
I'm not a savvy guy to put pictures online, so I don't have anything ready here, but I
Okay.
can supply them for you.
Yeah, please, if you could send them over to us.
Sure.
That might help clarify.
Like I said, it's just if there's nothing holding it there, it's literally gonna just keep caving in, and that's where all the water kind of gets dumped in that area, that marshy area there.
Yeah. Yeah, it may just be a miscommunication or a misunderstanding.
That's what I believe, because like I said, I've only been here for 4 years, and I think a lot of the stuff happened over the years. And like I said, my mother's still around, so if there's any questions to be had, I can ask her, and she's pretty good as far as providing names and information. I might even have old pictures from when they actually did all the work.
And that's the same garage that's been there for a number of years?
Correct, correct, yep. And I actually have pictures from a long time ago when he first got it that was sinking down 3 feet. You could actually
Yeah,
see
that
it.
would be good to see also, if you could send copies over to Rebecca.
Sure.
Okay, great.
Yeah, the only other resolution is the, you already kind of talked about a little bit, and I'll have to look into a little bit closer, is the extension into the conservation land.
What do you mean?
So, all right, yeah, I know, I'm trying to pull up a good map. Ken, do you have one there that has the lot lines on it that you can put over the aerial?
Yeah, before you do that, did you want to see the Google Earth, kind
Yeah.
of the old stuff real quick? Which may be helpful.
Okay.
Thanks for driving behind the scenes, Ken.
Yeah, no problem. So here's 2001. You could see there's a garage, and then you could see this area
Correct.
is something. I don't know, gravel or asphalt, but that's 20 years ago. Can't go too much further back than that, get any kind of resolution. But kind of scrolling through, here's 2004, and you can see there's a drive.
Like I said, ever since I can remember, it's always been access through there.
Yeah.
But I mean, when I was a little kid, there was like I said, a little stream in there. You can catch frogs.
Yeah, I'm
That
not saying
filled in, but
it's okay, but it looks like it's been there for a long time. That's all.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, hold on. You wanted that old plan that's marked up?
No, this, man, just, can you do a lot line and, okay, yeah, that's the last plan that I have.
Mhm.
That showed all that stuff, but that's,
That's a long time ago, yeah.
yeah. Mm. Okay,
I didn't have any other plans.
okay, that's all right.
I'm
Just
sorry.
if you put the lot line over, so I think the lot line, if you look at this one, is in blue.
Yeah,
Blue, correct.
Yeah, so let me look, I'm gonna pull it up on mine. I wish I could share it with you, but it's just the town. It's just the town assessors maps. The play structure goes beyond the lot lines. I know you said that you were judging it by some of the other stuff. So I'll have to take a look at.
Yeah, since I was a kid, it's always been my yard that my father's mowed and maintained. And like I said, if you look across all the abutting 6 houses, they all have sheds, and like I said, there's a rock wall that's probably been there forever and ever and ever. That's kind of the unofficial kind of end of your yard, even though I might not officially own it, but there's no, that structure, we could get 4 people and move it over. It's not a permanent structure or anything like that, the place set.
Okay.
That we could move if necessary. I mean, like I said, it's a tough street. We have kids and, unfortunately they can't go out and play on the driveway or drive their bikes in the road because it's a busy street. So like I said, we did move the place set. I didn't realize it was, not on my official land.
Right. And as I look on the maps, yes, I see what you're saying about some of the sheds.
Correct. Yeah. Well, they don't even, I don't think they even show on these. There's all sheds towards the very back of the lot lines. Yeah, there you go. You might be able to see.
Yeah. Can you zoom in on that?
I think almost every house has a shed in the back.
Yep.
I
That might be.
cannot
So-
zoom in on it.
Part of it is, and it's funny because it splits right behind your lot. So the part of it is conservation land, and then right there, and then the next piece down behind some of your neighbors is Board of Selectmen land. I'm not sure what the difference, well, I know what the conservation is. I'm not sure what that one is Selectmen.
This one says town right here.
Yeah, and that one's Conservation Commission. They're different. Okay. So where do we stand?
So the shed may be too far over for one, but we don't know if it's a miscommunication. Or
There's
just
always been a structure. There's always been a shed there. The top, I think, like blew down or storm, and it's just on a wooden platform. There's a plastic shed on top of it, but it's not a permanent structure on a cement platform or anything like that. It's just a wooden structure that's that's just based on, that could be moved if necessary. But like I said, a lot of the other sheds across the backyards are even further back. It's literally almost touching my back of my garage.
Yeah, so that may need to be moved based on what we're saying here. We'd have to kind of take a look at it, and but as far as the other part, the DEP, it sounds like it may be a miscommunication. Rebecca, what do you think?
I think I want to see the pictures. I hope he has pictures.
Yeah, we do need to
Pictures,
Yeah, like I
think
said, we
that'd be really
haven't
helpful.
cut any trees down or anything like
Yeah.
that. Like I
Yeah.
said, just the little driveway extension, but that was more to save the rocks from going down and blocking that pipe that and like I said, the place set and
Yeah.
but the garage is, I believe the shed's been there since before I bought the house.
Well, if you could
So
send the
there's-
pictures over to Rebecca, we could take a look at them, and if need be, she can take a visit over there and hopefully clear this up.
Absolutely. Yeah, I can provide any pictures you need.
Yeah, that'd be great. And then we'll just, why don't we plan on chatting about this again at the next meeting based on whatever we see in the pictures, and then we'll just clear it up one way or the other?
Sounds good.
Absolutely.
Okay, that works.
Sounds good.
The next meeting is May 2nd.
May 2nd. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, thank you, you two. Have a good night.
Thank you.
You too. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Rebecca, I don't have anything else on this agenda, but do you have anything else?
I don't really have anything else other than the what was I gonna say? The open space survey?
Yeah, I did go through it and I did send some comments back and Judy did respond back. I don't know if everybody else had a chance to look at it and provide
The
any
actual
feedback.
survey is live now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I did this, yeah, I did the survey, Judy, right away.
Oh, good, thank you.
I-
You
I've
get a
also-
gold star.
Who knew there were so many places to go to in town? I did not know.
Hey,
I know.
I go to the lake and that's it. Right.
hey, Bob,
Boring.
I didn't know they could get to the Spring Street one from any real way.
Yep. You
Yeah,
can get to it from off of Spring Street and off of
but-
Franklin Street, Ferdinand
But
Street.
Judy, is there a plan that shows all of them plus access to get to them?
Yes,
There is?
yeah,
Where?
there are trail maps for them.
Where?
I don't think it's on the town website.
Well, then how?
I know that's part of this process, though.
Oh, okay,
They're
okay,
developing-
okay.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
okay. Because
we're working on it.
Okay.
and another comment I had was maybe better identifying what the emerald necklace was with street names or locations or something like that.
Otherwise, it's a federal law homestead one in the Fenway
Yeah.
Station in Boston.
Exactly. We're about 12 miles away.
Right.
Hey, Bob, I'm sorry to interrupt, but it looks like from the names on here, I think you have the applicant for 17 Butler Avenue on here
Oh,
at 7 o'clock.
We are here.
oh, we did call you at 7.
I do apologize.
Okay, sorry. Did not notice that you were there. All right, so the way we left it was we still don't have a file number. You answered all of our questions in the packet you provided. And we do not have any other outstanding questions or issues. Is that correct, fellow commissioners
I think so.
and
Yeah.
Rebecca? So,
Yeah,
yeah,
so I just have to get in touch with someone at DEP about, because like I said, I have the receipt that shows that they sent it out. It's not even entered in their system, and some of the NOIs like Harrison and the other one, they are already in the system and they were submitted after. So I'm just gonna have to figure out.
Is this a hearing right now?
we kind of had a hearing and continued it because the applicant wasn't here, but the applicant is here now, so we're filling him in.
I understand that, but now that we're having this, I mean, I'm just curious whether it's public hearing, that's all.
It's a continued public hearing, so it's been a hearing since 2 weeks ago. Yeah.
So Rebecca just is gonna try to figure out with DEP, show DEP the card that says they received it, right, Rebecca?
Yeah, I'm just gonna have to call them and try to get somebody. It's kind of hard to get people. And just try to figure out what the process or what the problem is. I'm not really sure how much I can do about it, but I'll give it a shot. So we have about 2 weeks to try to get that file number.
Mm.
So until then, we'll just keep going. We'll just have to continue it to May 2nd. But
Right.
it sounds like without any other waiting for information.
Right, exactly. There's nothing else that we're looking for.
Right.
All right, so Rebecca will see if she can follow up with DEP and find out where that file number is. And we'll put you on for May 2nd. We'll put you on for 7 o'clock. All right.
Yeah, and you guys can call too, DEP. There's a number. Maybe it would be better if more than one person call, get more attention.
It is a little unusual. It's taken this long.
I don't even see it listed on the lookup.
Say again?
I don't even see the project.
No, I know,
listed.
that's what I mean. It's not even in their
Yeah,
system yet.
it's
And the
not
other
even-
ones that were after that are in their system.
Are you sure they have it?
I don't know if they have it. I know they sent it.
Hmm.
So you know what else we could do is we could try to, they could send it electronically maybe. And do it that way too.
Yeah.
We'll have to figure it out. I don't know. This hasn't happened before to me anyway. So at this point, it's just an administrative issue, it sounds like.
All right, so we'll put you back on for May 2nd and, reach out on your end, and Rebecca will reach out on her end and see if we can get resolution to where this file is.
Yep.
Okay. I
All right.
appreciate it. All right, thank you. Have a good
Wait, I have
night.
a quick question. Did they cash your check?
The owner's there. I don't know. I can't see him.
Oh, okay. I was just curious.
Yeah, I don't know why he's not responding, but he was online and then.
What's his
something must
name?
have happened. Chris.
Oh, yeah,
Kuma?
I can see,
Chris
but-
Kuma?
Yeah, Krista is here. Oh, well, I see the name.
Can you give me a
Well, we'll
second?
just try to figure it out.
I'm here, sorry, yeah, I'm checking, I don't see them in case the check it.
Okay. All right, we'll just have to follow up with them, try to figure it out.
All right, so anyways, we'll put you back on for May 2nd. Hopefully we have resolution to this and we can close things out on May 2nd if we have that file number.
Okay.
All right.
All right, then. Thank you. Have a good
Sorry,
night.
sorry to keep you waiting. I didn't know you were still here.
All right, that's all right.
Have a good night.
Thank
All
you.
right, you too.
Thank you. Thanks for pointing that out, Rebecca.
Yeah, I feel bad. I didn't see them. I didn't really look at the names before either.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Anything else on your end?
I moved the trail steward appointment to the next meeting just because this one was long. And I had only received 2 of the forms back, so we have that. And I know we have 1 new notice of intent and 2 RDAs at the next meeting too, so it's gonna be even longer. Just what you wanted.
Way to build up the next meeting.
Just telling you guys, get your rest now.
I'm gonna have to have a pillow and
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, so it always struggle between trying to send you guys information too early or too late, sending it more than once. Is this working the way we're doing it right now? Do you guys have a preference of doing something differently? I try to do it as like a group and then summarize again later and then put it,
Yeah,
for
I think
Tuesday.
getting it as far in advance as possible is helpful. Rebecca.
Okay. I can do that, but sometimes I feel like then you guys don't even realize I've given it to you because it was like 2 weeks ago. Do you know
Well,
what I
that's
mean?
our own fault, not yours.
Rebecca, say how much I enjoyed your annotated agenda. That was really helpful to me.
Okay, I can do that. Sometimes I do that for I actually do that a lot for myself, just so I can.
I thought you were oncoming.
Say again?
I thought you were oncoming.
Oh.
No,
Well, I almost,
You
yeah.
do that when you don't come.
Yeah.
I just think hearing your top level comments on each item on the agenda was really helpful to me. Thank you.
I can try to do that more often and
Yeah, that is
potentially
very
become a
helpful.
habit. If you guys like it.
Anything else, Rebecca?
Nothing that I can think of. Judy, do you have anything?
The only thing I wanted to mention was the area behind the last, the enforcement order. That's one of the noted conservation areas in the open space updated plan. So you may want to keep that in mind.
What 29 Oak Street, you mean, Judy?
Right, because that big parcel is all under the care and custody of the commission. So, and I don't know how that works. If it's, liability wise for the town, I don't know how that works. But it's something that we talked about, having signage, things like that. So it's just something to look at.
And it almost connects the Emerald Necklace to Town Forest Maple Way.
Yes.
Are you guys gonna do I apologize if you already answered this, but are you driving by 129 Oak?
Jimmy, you and I went there.
Yeah.
Last time this came up, because the town was doing work right there.
Yeah, you're talking, well, I seem to remember them grading around that thing.
They
Right,
did, right where it's paved over is where they did it.
yeah, and for
And
some
wasn't
reason
there
you
a
and I
pipe
went
there?
out there.
Wasn't there a pipe there as well?
Yes, I don't know if
That's
we
what-
went
that's
out
what he
there
said.
because of the town work or because the abutter.
It was the town work.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's what the homeowner said.
yeah, yeah,
And I
so,
think, yeah, that sounds right to me.
Yeah, I think they relocated a pipe. And it discharges to that front corner. It doesn't go down the side. That's where the old one went. It goes to the front corner.
yeah, we went out, looked at the pipe and looked at the gravel in that corner that they had put.
Yeah,
And we
right.
met the homeowner, the original,
Mm.
his parents, we met his father, I believe it was.
Can you guys drive by again and just look to see if it looks any different? Maybe you have a recollection, and then he's gonna get pictures. And we don't have to talk about this any more than that, but
Yeah, the pictures will be the key.
I would just suggest everyone drive by and take a peek.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
But just keep that in mind when it comes to the back area, if that's going to affect the parcels that were outlined in the open space plan.
Right,
You know, what you want to do with that.
okay.
Motion to adjourn?
Anything else, Judy?
No,
Okay, motion to adjourn.
Second,
Any discussion? All in favor? Haley,
Yes.
Jimmy,
Yes.
Ken,
Yes.
Paul,
yes.
Peter,
Yes.
Teresa,
Yes.
and I also vote to adjourn. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Some of you will see on
Saturday.
Saturday.
It's Saturday.
Everybody.
Yep.
I'm not sure if I'll be there, but maybe.